Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 353 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's up, boys? We got T-minus 2 weeks till opening night, preseason already underway. A major young star gets locked up for 5 years, plus more news out of Buffalo. We'll get to that shortly, but let's say what's up to the fellas first. Producer Mikey Grinelli. How's it hanging, buddy?
What's going on, boys? Pasha was in town this weekend. So, as you can imagine, my weekend was a little nuts. Lost my debit card. Pasha blew me off one night. But most importantly, Biz, you look fantastic with that new haircut. It's about time. You needed to fix it.
Hey, you got to tell the Pasha story, though, and how you got ditched and why. The why is a very big important
female.
I think the perfect way. Yeah, no, Pasha got 0 chicks this weekend. I think the perfect way to describe. Way to describe Pasha is how Whit did in our group chat earlier. He's mini RA. So this weekend we had dinner plans to go out, due west, great spot, West Village, and he stops answering my calls. Like, the reservation's at 9 p.m. It's 7 p.m. No answer. 8 p.m. No answer. 8:30 no answer. Finally, he gives me a call and he's like, Mike, I got to be honest with you, man. Got some last minute tickets to the private exclusive Coldplay concert for famous people only. So I can't make dinner tonight. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I get a video from the Coldplay concert. He's front row. Not only did he get into this concert, but he's front row at the exclusive Coldplay concert. So I don't blame him for blowing me off, but he's just always getting himself into some type of mischief.
You think
so? He went solo? He went solo. He got one ticket?
No. So I had a buddy from Victoria who was in town in New York City for a wedding, right? So he went out to lunch, and it kind of correlates with your beautiful hat, RA. By the way, highest jersey sale records, the Seattle Kraken. He ends up running into one of the Kraken owners or somebody who's high up. I don't know if it was actually exactly an owner or maybe like the president. I think he was throwing on the party. And it was this exclusive 500-person party where they had Coldplay performing, and he knew Pasha was in town, so he got the call.
500 people.
500 people at a Coldplay concert. They were sitting front row. Now, I'm surprised that he didn't end up passing on his ticket to you and then just sneaking in, because Pasha sneaks into everything. He snuck into like the NBA Finals when it was in Toronto one year. He's snuck into what's the festival there? In the Coachella one year,
RA Junior.
RA Junior. When he snuck into Coachella though on the final day, they were like going in the VIP buffet area. They were just living La Vida Loca, and I guess the security had caught wind that there was a bunch of people who had created these fake passes. So he gets pulled in this tent, interrogated for hours and hours on end. He was actually a little bit nervous because I think they ended up taking his ID. I don't know if he had his passport on him, but. Oh, fuck. Pasha he's
as you're listening to this right now, folks, he's on a plane, or he's already in London with fake passes he made to go to the James Bond premiere tonight.
No.
Yes, in London. He's fucking going across the Atlantic. He's crossing the pond to sneak into a European event.
How did you hear that?
He sent us the pictures of the passes he made, and by now I hope somebody rats him out and he gets arrested in London.
That's a long way to go for fake passes for a fucking movie.
These fake passes look legit.
Legit. He's
10
got
out of 10.
10 out of 10. He's got the laminate on it. There was actually not too long ago, there was a guy who made a documentary about how he was sneaking into all these concert and events. I don't know exactly what the documentary was called, but RA, I got to shout out your hat. It looks unbelievable on you. And I would say for a sport that you get a lot of complaining a lot of the time about either the third jerseys or jerseys for this or jerseys for that. The record-breaking sales for the Seattle Kraken as far as jersey sales up to date?
I know there was an article the other day. I don't know if they dropped official numbers. We were just looking at, but they've been selling through the roof, as you'd expect. I think any new team, but this logo kills it, man. And we saw the team play the other night, their first preseason game. I mean, those jerseys look gorgeous on the ice, just all the different shades of blue, and then the whole tentacle with the red eye. I mean, like I said, people who shake their head at it, I don't know, man. We've been complaining the NHL has boring nicknames, boring teams, boring logos, and then we got this, and I thought it was outside the box, and they fucking nailed it.
They gave us crackheads. It's amazing.
Yeah. Biz, I can't. I don't have my glasses on. Do you got like little twisty braids in your head? What's going on?
Yeah, I got
here?
the fuckboy haircut.
Yeah, you look like
It actually comes with an activated TikTok account, and I actually get to join the what's the podcast that Portnoy
BFFs.
does?
You ripped on Josh Richards for having the TikTok hair. Now you got the same hair as him.
You just become a wiggle dicker the minute the hair cut was finished. Your dick starts wiggling.
Yeah. Speaking of the sea serpent, that's what that would look if I was wiggling my dick around. I can't be doing that with all the
TikTok just gets
the old calamari cock.
You guys just talking about a small concert. You know who played one last week just outside Boston while we were recording? The Rolling Stones they've been in Boston for the last month because they're still finishing this tour that's been 2 years now, delayed from COVID shit. They've been in Boston since like early August rehearsing for their tour because they didn't go back to London for the funeral because they would have had to do all the quarantine bullshit. They had been here rehearsing. I guess when you've been friends with a guy for 60 years, you know whether or not you should go to his funeral or not. So they stayed here, continued rehearsing, and Bob Kraft had them play a show at Gillette last week. It's not like the stadium. It's like they put a tent up on the field, holds like 300 or 400 people, and only like the big wigs of Boston like got invited to it. Like, high-end politicians like billionaires, and the Stones played for like 300 people at Kraft's place last week, like to get into tour shape. So I found that after I was bummed out. I guess I'm not that big of a swing.
I don't mean to have sat outside like on Route 95 trying to catch a tune from one of the fucking stereos.
Go three-quarters of a mile up to get the right echo or some shit like that.
So I actually got a one-upper. The Fugees. After 25 years of releasing the album The Score. Now, R.A., are you a big Fugees guy?
I wouldn't say I'm a big Fugees guy. I'm familiar with that hit album from back in the day. Some great songs.
I'll be gone till November. I'll be gone till November. That song?
That is Wyclef Jean, and that is not on that album, I believe. He is part of the Fugees, but they have reunited after 25 years of going dark. Of course, I think a lot of that had to do with Lauryn Hill. She ended up releasing that, like they dominated the late 90s. And sure enough, they end up getting together. They performed a live show. I think it was 9 songs. They're a little bit known for being late. They were 4 hours late to the gig. People didn't care though, because they completely crushed the 9 songs. It was done in New York on a pier. I don't know exactly what the venue is called, but
Pier
they're
17.
Pier 17. Thank you, Grinelli. That's probably right next door to you, or not far, because you live near a pier, don't you?
Yeah, it's downtown. It's kind of near me.
Okay.
Can we talk quickly about you thinking that you're one-upping RA's Rolling Stones with the Fugees, dude?
Are you fucking kidding me? You don't think
squeezing a stress ball right now, flipping out that you thought the Fugees would be considered a one-up to his RS
I bet
dogs?
You, okay, well, let's leave it up to the fans to decide, because I think that the Fugees are, I mean, obviously they don't have as big of a catalog, but I think that as far as an impact and people excited for this 12-show tour, all right, I don't appreciate that look you're giving me, by the way. 12-show tour.
The camera, not you.
They got a 12-show tour coming, and I think it's a big deal because, I mean, being a massive Fugees fan, like I ended up buying that disc when I was growing up, and I grew up on it, as well as that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which I want to say went like 10 times fucking platinum.
Huge Stella.
And that dropped in 98, not far after that Score album, and then all of a sudden, Poof Vamoose, much like Dave Chappelle, she just kind of up and quit the industry. She just didn't want to maybe like conform to the, I don't know, RA, would you have more to say on that? Like what would you say her reason it was for just upping and leaving it all?
I think she had some tax issues, if I'm not mistaken. I can't say I had my finger on the pulse of the Fuji side.
Was it like mental stuff? She had tax. She hadn't paid her taxes.
I don't know how much that affected her leaving.
She had RA's accountant.
I'm pretty sure. I think there was some tax issues with her. And
it turns out she didn't go dark. She was just in jail for the past 20.
Well, we're going back 25 years, so it could be any number of things. But I seem to remember her having some tax issues at some point. But I think, they had creative difficulties. They basically weren't talking a lot. Like I said, I didn't follow them a ton. This is just dribs and drabs I've picked up over the years.
I think given the craziness of the story back then, how she was on top, I think she won like 1 million fucking Grammys that year after she dropped that album. And I want to say it was her first solo album, and then just, up and quit. So I guess it's not a one-upper, but I think it's a pretty big relevant topic surrounding the music industry. So I just figured I'd follow you up.
They definitely were monsters back then. I want to go back last week with the I Googled the Dirty Honey lead singer, and I'm pretty sure he was the guy who walked by me during the concert, like, because he was in the area where like only security is there, or unless you like have the band permit. and he come up and said, hey, what's up? Love the show, whatever. And like, because that's the only guy who could have been part of the band. So I realized who it was after when I looked it up, who the dude was. He walked by during the show in like the pit where the security is, but I didn't blow him off. And I was very cordial to him.
No, you were just
I just didn't know who he was.
Off and enjoying the music.
You were just waffled, and you probably don't really remember, but I got you.
Oh no, I remember. Every
you mentioned Robert Kraft. I got to ask you guys quickly.
Yeah.
We could talk about football later because I've been dialed in. Shout out Aaron Rodgers for that amazing fucking comeback last night with 37 seconds. Keep the fucking change. Will you guys be attending Brady's return at Gillette Stadium this upcoming week?
No.
I will not be. I can't stand going to NFL games. I think it's the most made for TV sport ever to be created.
Big time.
Let alone an 8:30 game where it's just like, I'm old, dude. I'll be watching that game. I'll be up. But in terms of like being at the game, you're home at 2, you're exhausted. And also, the Bucs are going to pound the shit out of the Patriots. Brady's going to light them up.
You think so? Well, especially following a loss too, right?
He's following a loss. Like, they have a rookie QB. He's going to be as fired up as ever. And I'm convinced him and Gronk despise Bill Belichick.
Oh yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. I think that the NFL is probably the best league as far as organizing their schedule and making sure certain things happen at certain times. I want to say that Tom Brady is going to pass the all-time passing yards record in Gillette Stadium because he was just on the teeter last game because they posted about it, second all-time to, I believe, Peyton Manning. So he will be passing, or maybe it was Drew Brees, and he'll be passing it at Gillette Stadium. So like, they just do an unreal job of putting all these games on like the pedestal that they deserve at the right times.
Gretzky broke a record in Edmonton when he was on the Kings. Somebody will know what.
Well, he's got like 100 of them. So I mean,
I know, but I'm in talking about legends going back and actually breaking a record at their original barn or original stadium. Like, it's pretty crazy that the timing works out like that. I guess you're saying the schedule makers knew that it could have been that game and they kind of planned it for week 4. But the other quick thing I wanted to say about the NFL is I'll go to a game. I want a 4:30 start on a November Sunday. Like, 1's too early. 4, you get there at 1:30, you tailgate. You're not home at 2. You're home at like 9, 8:39, and just kind of that's my sweet spot. In case anyone was curious.
Okay, Grandpa.
It was Gordie Howe's point record that he broke. October 15th, 1989.
Holy fuck, Grinnell. You are absolutely humming out of the gate right now.
Well, it's called
Hockey
Google.
Season, baby.
I can't tell you the last time I've been to a Pats game. It was probably one of the conference championships versus like Brady versus Manning. It's just because, like Whit said, it's an absolute fucking chore to go. Unless you're in the rich people parking lot where you get in or out, or if you're parked like south of the stadium, which most people aren't coming that way. It's a pain in the ass. And also to it, I think you're going to mention like, how many donkeys are in the crowd? Like, I mean, I know NHL games.
There's donkeys everywhere.
You know what grinds my gears?
But people,
NFL, there's a whistle every 10 seconds. That's my issue.
But it's just like
me and the rapper.
People blacked out at like 10 in the morning. Then, like, you got to deal with them, hundreds of them in the stadium. It's like the Walking Dead
on our trips.
Nah, come on, guy. Come on, guy.
Hey, I don't think we ever talked about RA in Detroit. The one day where you were completely waffled during the day.
That we did.
I called a 20-second timeout on myself and laid down and had a cookie and said, leave me alone.
He crushed
and actually
it.
act like an adult and actually mixed in a water. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay, well, actually, quickly going back to Detroit too, we dropped the Werenski and Kopp Sandbagger this past Wednesday. Great numbers on that. Thank you, everybody who showed up to the live chat. Whit was buzzing. A bit of controversy. I'll throw it over to you, Whit.
Yeah, well, I don't think everyone's watched it, so we won't spoil, but I'll tell you this. It goes to a playoff, and on the first playoff hole, Zach Werenski takes a drop.
He's the worst drop guy in the world, by the way.
And a lot of people were chirping his swing, like that it's a short swing, but he pounds the ball. So I wish I had a shorter swing because you're just more compact and like – He's a good player. His swing doesn't look great, but he gets it out there. He moves it out there. But he decided to lift his ball up and take a drop. I mean, after talking to us, in the end, we gave okay, but it was just a bizarre situation. Thank you for tuning in. I was on the live chat with some people during the broadcast Wednesday night. The course was fantastic. The greens were rock hard, and they were also lightning to putt on. And just check it out. you got to see what this dude pulled off on the 19th hole. Just unacceptable. We then found out apparently it's a local rule where the grass is like dying, you get drops, but I don't know about that. We might have just been getting finagled by the membership post round.
I said it in the Sandbagger. Fuck, he should be paying the water bill after signing that ticket.
Good line.
And I would say 3 times over the course of that Sandbagger, some very, very suspect drops by Werenski. So I don't. Hopefully the NHL and the league looks into it because maybe player safety can button.
That's why Torts retired, dude.
Oh, really?
Or got fired. Did he get fired? No, his contract just ended.
His contract ran out, yeah.
He's made for TV. He's going to be on ESPN now.
Ooh.
He is, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Occasionally. He is funny on TV. He doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
Come for that ass biz.
Imagine that guy in an arbitration meeting.
No coaches ever go. He's like, I'm coming to this one.
No, I'm coming.
No, I'll be there.
All right, boys, it's officially fall, which means baseball is here, football is back, and pucks and hoops are just around the corner. So head on over to your local bar and make sure to order some Pink Whitney to enjoy with all any game that tickles your fancy. I'm a big football guy this time of year. I kind of was down on football a little bit, Whit, but a couple of shots of Pink Whitney, boom, I'm right back at it. Speaking of which, Tampa Bay is a 6.5-point favorite right now. Wouldn't be so shocked if that goes up toward the end of the week.
In my survivor pool, I bought 4 picks at the beginning of the year. I lost 1 when Buffalo lost week 1. I picked them to beat Pittsburgh. The Steelers beat them. But I have 3 left. One of my 3 this week was Baltimore. And I was playing golf, and I had no idea. And I looked, I go, oh, nice, they won. And I had a group chat of the guys in this pool. And they were like, buddy, you have no idea. He buried a 66-yarder, longest field goal in history to win off of the bottom of the crossbar. Doink. And then rolls in. So had I been watching, there's no chance. He probably misses it by 20 yards. But I just thought it was an easy win when I looked at the score app.
Hey, so the cherry on top is I want to say somebody who was recording it behind. You remember when Big Cat ended up going to the game with those guys who were in those silly hats?
The most ridiculous night ever. Detroit Dawn and someone else, I think it was.
So he ends up kicking it against Detroit, and somebody who was videoing it had those guys in front of them in the shot and hits the crossbar and doinks over. Oh my. And what a treat. We've gotten pretty deep into the football talk, but okay, so we might as well talk about Aaron Rodgers, or should we save that for the back end?
Let's save that for the back end. Yeah, save that for the back end because we do got some hockey to get to. First off, we do have a guest. We're not bringing him on quite yet. A little later in the show, we have Vegas Golden Knight goaltender Robin Lehner joined us for a nice lengthy chat, about an hour and a half, and very interesting fellow. We talked little bit.
He doesn't say much though. He kind of kept to himself. I don't know if you guys will like the interview.
Yeah.
He is a very opinionated guy, and we love guys when they come on and let it fly. And I don't know if you guys have seen some pictures online. He is looking absolutely shredded coming into the season. So this is a man on a mission, and I'm interested to see him in the starting role.
Yeah. So a little later we'll bring him on, but like I said in the intro, we got some more drama up in Buffalo. The latest in the soap opera up there. Unsurprisingly, Jack Eichel did feel his physical, given the situation with his neck. Then he was stripped of his captaincy. Of course, we've said before, he wants that artificial disc replacement. The team wants him to have the fusion surgery. It's crazy they're fighting so much over this. You got to wonder if these shots are being called from somewhere up higher. Like, if, I don't know. I mean, is Kevin Adams really digging his heels in this much? Or is someone above him saying, hey, you got to do this? He's a first-time GM. He's got to take his orders from the boss. But I don't know, man. It feels like this is
Pagula's got their hands so far up his ass. He's a puppet master at this point. Because listen, I'll be honest. I thought there was not a chicken dick's chance in hell that this would be dragged out as long as it has. That's why I never really gave it much deep thought earlier on in the summer. I thought he was going to get moved over maybe towards the end of summer. This is fucking embarrassing. This is a guy who should be getting ready for an Olympic year, a star in the NHL who's, at the pinnacle of his career. And Whit, I'll throw it over to you, but this is a fucking joke.
Yeah, I said it from the beginning, and you're right. There is no chance you can give Kevin Adams shit for this. No. This is the Pagulas telling him exactly what he's going to do and not giving in to the surgery that the player wants to get on his own body. And we actually talked to Robin Lehner about this because he was a part of some issues in Buffalo. Granted, it was a different staff and a different time years ago, but he had opinions on what's happening to Jack. And we're biased in a sense that we're friends with Jack Eichel, but in looking at the whole scenario, forget that. This is fucking insane that there's a player in the league, any player in the league that wants a surgery and that the team won't let him get it. And not only is it hurting the player, it's hurting the team. First off, he's getting paid. He's getting paid, dude. He got injured playing hockey. This dude didn't get injured fucking on a motorcycle doing something off ice. Like, this guy got injured in a game, and now he can't play. The team gets nothing out of him. The team can't even trade him because they can't get an agreement with any other team on what surgery he needs. And the whole issue really stems from Buffalo being such a dumpster fire and really ruining this from the get-go. Now, I see their side in the sense that when the CBA was discussed and figured out, like this, the teams ended up having control over players' injuries and surgeries. That's definitely going to be looked into next time the CBA's what do you call it? All right, what's the word? Renegotiated. Yeah. Whenever it is negotiated again, this will good job is there will be talks about this because it's a bad look for the entire league. Like you say, you got one of the best players in the league, one of the biggest young guns going. He's not even playing, and nobody has any clue when he's going to be playing. And he was skating all summer. I talked to guys in Boston, flying around, looking unreal. Now he can't be hit. There's no contact, but he looks great. And you just feel for a guy. I don't care how much money he has. This guy loves the game of hockey. It's all he wants to do. And you're just sitting there in limbo right now. I listened to Elliot and Marek on 31 Thoughts podcast, and they were talking about how with Tarasenko requesting the trade from St. Louis, his medical records were made to be seen and open to any team that wanted to see them in terms of talking trades. They could look at it. They could have their doctors look at it. Nobody's seen Eichel's. So maybe at least come in, and Elliot said this, in terms of getting his medical records to any team who wants to see them. So at least they can have doctors give their opinions on what's going on. And maybe a trade could happen before the surgery goes down. But the whole thing is embarrassing. It really is embarrassing for the league. It's embarrassing for the Sabres. And you're looking at a guy, you stripped him of the C, and he's just going to be there getting paid. And where does this end, dude? Like, at what point does this, like, is he going to play this year?
So Whit and RA, I'll ask you too. I don't know if it was Elliot Friedman who spoke on this. I believe that there are some packages from teams in place, but some conditions on the package would have to be worked out as far as how much he actually ends up playing. And of course, if things don't go well with whatever surgery or whatever procedure he decides to get done, they could get some of those conditions removed. Like let's say it's a first and second, whereas if he only plays 30 games, they end up getting the first rounder back or whatever it may be. So I don't know if that's playing a part into the fact that he's not getting traded, but RA, I don't know how much more you have to chime in on this, but one of the biggest takeaways, and you might have talked about it during the summer and mentioned this, and I don't want to spoil the whole Lehner interview, but one thing that I didn't realize is this fusion surgery. That is it a guarantee that later in life that you're going to have to get more surgeries?
Guarantee.
Like it's 100% fact, correct?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan and you're not maybe coming from the biased perspective that we are, because we are a players podcast, but we often don't, as a fan, and you're rooting for the Buffalo Sabres and the organization, think about the player when he's done playing. And if you're telling me that he has to get the surgery where now he's committed to a lifelong amount of surgeries on his neck because that's the procedure that the team wants him to get, I think that's fucking ridiculous. And that's why I think that you mentioned that when they renegotiate the CBA, this needs to be looked into, and there needs to be some fine print put in for certain particular situations exactly like this. And that's why I say it's a fucking joke, because they're essentially saying you have to get this surgery and then you're committing to your life getting these surgeries, where I haven't talked to many people who have had this, but I'd imagine surgery after surgery, there are no guarantees. When I had my L5-S1, when I went and talked to the doctor, they said, last resort, you want to get that type of surgery where they go in and do something like that. Now, I don't know if fusion was exactly the type of thing they wanted to do for the herniated disc and L5-S1, but they said there are no guarantees after you get surgery. It could be even something very minor. So I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I know I get a little bit fired up, but this is just, it sucks because it's a bad look. The league needs its stars playing and shining.
And I think, Kevin Adams, I imagine he has some empathy for Jack. He was a player himself. So he knows like this is probably fucked up. Like, okay, you can come back, but only if you get this particular surgery. And it's major shit, man. It's not a sprained ankle. It's not a broken arm. And, I think the other thing too with Adams' business, like this was kind of foisted upon him. Like, so he's not obligated to trade him. Obviously, he knows he wants out of here, but he's not going to just take the first best deal that's out there. And I think at this point, we know whoever does get him has to probably accept that they're not going to have him playing for however 6, 8, 10 months, 12 months, however long the surgery is going to take to convalesce from. So,
I think it's way less healing time with the disc replacement as well.
And, they can build that in, like Biz said, as far as like give a couple draft picks, and if he plays X amount of games, you could take him away, make them conditional, that type of thing. But at the bottom line is you still have a 25-year-old stud who's in the prime of his career. After the surgery, he should be the same player. Teams are still going to be hungry for him. Eventually, I don't know if a team's going to start shitty and have to make a move, but I can't really blame Adams for sitting here and waiting for the best deal, because this isn't a situation he really created or asked for.
And he doesn't control it now.
Right. Exactly. And that too.
I also have a feeling if he was like, listen, I kind of want to just like part ways with this situation personally, I don't think that he's the one where the deals are going across his desk where he gets to okay it or not. I feel like
not when it's a $10 million contract. That's not something a freshman GM is saying.
Is there any other, now granted pro sports is different, but is there any industry or job in the world where your employer can tell you what surgery you have to get? Like, I wonder what the NFL or NBA standards are in something like this, but it is a wild scenario right now to talk about somebody's body and what you have to do to get healthy again, not just to play hockey, but like you said, Biz, to live the rest of your life in comfort. And you're sitting around, you got a team telling you have to get this certain surgery. It's like, what world are we living in? It sounds crazy to me.
Yeah. It's nuts. And Ari, I know we've touched on it a while. Was it you who mentioned Tarasenko?
Whit just did briefly, but it was a different point, I think, than you were making. Where here's another guy who has a trade demand out there, and everything's kind of going ho hum. Like Whit said, the medical evidence is known, but even just the way the coaches are treating him and his teammates, like, all right, they all accept in the room he wants to be traded, but they're just kind of going with business about usual. It sounds like.
I feel like that'll be rekindled.
Business as usual.
Apparently he's been there skating with the guys, and he came in back into camp in incredible shape, and I don't know. I feel like this is a relationship that can be restored, and I think that Tarasenko still has a lot of game left. He's made a massive impact to that organization. Stanley Cup champion. Although was he injured when they ended up winning it? Was he out with a shoulder?
No.
Or was he still in the lineup? Maybe I'm confused here, but
I blocked out that out.
He played in the cup final.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I don't know. Now you got me doubting myself. I'm pretty sure he was on the ice celebrating with the boys.
Google. Yeah. So, but either way, I mean, like it's nice to see that. Sometimes it's maybe the miscommunication, and I think that when we end up getting over to the Kirill Kaprizov deal that ended up getting signed, sometimes there's such a disconnect between general managers and even the players, just because like they have so much to worry about. And, maybe Tarasenko wasn't feeling the love based on what he'd provide the organization. It seems like it is something right now that they are maybe rekindling. So I hope the best. There were some quotes from him here. I guess I got them right here. I could read them off. So bear with me for the next 30 minutes. He goes, "We always love the St. Louis community. We always try to help the community as much as we can. Me and my family, we're very grateful for those people who support us through this last 9 years, especially this summer. We received a lot of support. I'm grateful." And then Berube's quotes were, "I really don't believe it's a distraction at all. He's been here for a while, skating with the guys, being with the guys, hanging out with the guys. I thought he looked excellent out there today. He's been part of this team for a long time. Yeah, things happen in the summer times or things are said. I don't go into it at all. Let me restart that. I don't go into it all that much. I don't worry about that. He's here playing hockey for us, so I coach him. That's it. It's not a distraction in my opinion." So maybe I'm making too much of the tummy sticks going on in the media and the fact that Tarasenko is saying he loves the community and Berube saying that he's not a distraction. So I don't know. If you're a St. Louis fan, I'd imagine you don't want to let go of a 40-goal scorer who I'm sure after having a great offseason training could have still a lot to provide this organization.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Like I said, just because a guy wants to be traded, Biz, doesn't mean the team has to trade him, as we see. I mentioned the exhibition games have started. I think pretty much all the teams have played at least one game. Seattle played in Spokane, Washington. Pretty raucous crowd. They beat Vancouver 5-3. I thought those jerseys, again, looked unreal. I can't wait to see the white ones on the road. You know what else looks good, Whit? These new golf kicks from our friends at Peter Millar.
RA, no doubt. I need to take a minute to talk to you guys about these sneakers. Our friends at Peter Millar have released a new colorway in their Hyperlight Apollo sneaker to kick off the fall season, and they are a game changer. The new color claret, is it claret or claret? Maurice Claret played for Ohio State, so I'm guessing this is claret. I've never heard of the color, but it is sick. It's the latest drop in these sneakers that are inspired by the aesthetics of the space race. A darker red knit upper with a clean white midsole provides you with street-ready style and supreme comfort, perfect for the changing seasons. The upper is knit with textured yarns and structured transitions, so it has more sophisticated appearance with a slip-on design and elastic laces for incredible comfort. A custom sole plays off the textures of the surface of the moon, dude, with upgraded traction and lightweight durability. Trust us. Trust me. If you want a sneaker that balances the most innovative design with incredible comfort, you want to check out the Hyperlight Apollo from Peter Millar. Head on over to petermillar.com/chiclets to explore the Hyperlight Apollo and the rest of Peter Millar's sneaker lineup. One more time, head on over to petermillar.com/chiclets.
For those of you wondering, especially St. Louis fans, don't punch your steering wheel. Tarasenko had an assist in Game 7 of the Cup final, so -1. I'm back to even.
Also, yeah, the Peter Millar. That's you got it on right now, right, boys? I don't have my glasses on.
Oh yeah, I got the Peter Millar Q-zip on.
Yeah, we got it.
He
right
does. Grinelli, I got to compliment you on the merchandise lately. This is absolutely fire. Now, this isn't the Peter Millar. This is the
UNRL or Unreal.
Ooh.
And you can see that we got the Pink Whitney merch dropping. But going back to Peter Millar, they deck us out for all the Sandbaggers. Excellent gear. Check it out.
All right, you having a Bloody Mary?
No, God, no. It's just it's a Christmas glass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw Santa Claus, and I thought that was the red of a tomato juice.
Yeah, a local brewery. There's so many breweries in Massachusetts now. It's awesome. Like, I'm a beer snob. I like my high octane IPAs. So,
a couple people were tweeting about the progression of how tipsy you were getting last pod. RA, I like it. You like to relieve the stress a little bit with a few cocktails.
Last week, I was maybe because it was the first one back. I said, let me have one to take the edge.
I didn't notice you being drunk.
Yeah,
and usually I do.
Well, you have three. It's like you have 3 or 4 beers over the course of 2-3 hours.
Well, if there's 16% IPAs, dude, yeah, you're going to be crippled.
Yeah, but I think
an IV.
It can enhance, especially if I'm not like feeling myself. It can get me a little loosey goosey when I need to be.
Oh, hey, I forgot to mention last episode, guys. Jake Tebow. I don't know if you remember the name. That's the kid who was paralyzed from Milton Academy. He's the senior hockey player. I got to go visit him at Spalding Rehab. Unreal guy. Huge fan of the show. I know all you guys gave him a call. He really appreciated it. But I got to meet him, so I'm going to go hang out next week as well, watch some hockey when it gets going with him. But this kid, I wanted to shout him out. I know you're listening, buddy. It was a pleasure meeting you. And for anyone who doesn't know him, heart of a lion, dude. This kid's spirit is unreal. It's just he's convinced I'm going to walk again every day. He's like working as hard as he can on his rehab. He's talking about getting different trial type stuff that different doctors and scientists are working on for people with paralysis. So shout out to Jake, and an unreal person, and I can't wait to spend more time with you, buddy. So I wanted to shout him out.
Good job,
That's
Wade.
awesome.
I got to get see him myself too. I talked to him last week as well. A great kid, just a tremendous spirit. When he refers to himself as fortunate, it could have been worse. It just his perspective is in a good spot. So another story. This was one where it even come out a couple months back, whatever. We didn't want to bring it up because it was basically gossip, but the NHL got involved, so we kind of had a report on it. Evander Kane was cleared of any wrongdoing regarding allegations that he gambled on hockey or somehow affected the outcome of games, which we thought was kind of preposterous from the jump. The NHL investigated the claims that were posted on social media by his ex or soon-to-be ex-wife and found absolutely nothing there. The league also said that they were aware of separate allegations made in divorce filings, and they'll monitor those ones as well. But they're from the same person. They already found out was basically full of shit on these ones. So basically, Evander Kane didn't gamble on hockey per the NHL, and there was nothing to indicate he could throw a game because that, like I said, that seemed preposterous.
Surprised the best player from the team ended up being cleared of throwing games.
Yeah. So anyways, like I said, just reporting it. We had a report though when it dropped, so we're reporting he's been exonerated of all such things. So some fun stuff, signings. We always love to talk about the signings. And after much back and forth and some silent treatments, the Minnesota Wild signed Calder Trophy winner and restricted free agent Kirill Kaprizov to a 5-year, $45 million deal. He's got a no-move clause for the last 2 years. He'll be 29 when the deal ends, so he can still make some nice cabbage. He had, 51 points in 55 games last year, and he has the highest average annual value with the fewest number of games played since the salary cap has been implemented. He had 99 out of 100 first-place votes for the Calder last year, and his one other vote was second place. The only other major award winner in Wild history is Jacques Lemaire, who won the Jack Adams back in 2003. It felt like a no-brainer, obviously, for the Wild to get done. Seemed like it wasn't going to at a certain point. I don't think anybody really thought he was not going to end up back in Minnesota. Did you, Whit?
No, I never did. And it was pretty funny because at the press conference, one of the
comedy hour.
What?
Comedy hour. It was worth the wait based on Guerin's comedy hour at the press conference.
Yeah, one of the reporters asked him, like, was there really a chance you were going to ever play in the KHL? He's like, oh, God, no. Guerin's like, you might want to not include that for your next fucking salary demands in 5 years. But
no, he goes, you shouldn't answer that because you're screwing the next guy who's using that as a negotiation tactic.
Oh, the next guy. I thought he said, like, you're screwing yourself next time you try to use it. But yeah, I mean, the guy is he kind of changed the entire vibe like around that team. I certainly used to shit on that team all the time for being like just so boring to watch play if they're on national TV or playing your team. Like, you know, I get the Bruins games, and in the end, he's made them exciting to watch. He's such a game breaker. The highest average annual value or whatever the AAV stands for like lowest games played. Am I wording that correctly? There's never been a higher salary with less games played, which is 55. So he kind of had him by the balls a little bit. I know he was RFA. I wish I did know the differences in RFAs. There's all these different type of categories there can be. Needless to say, Minnesota got their guy a high price. But if you look at the production around the league and you look at Panarin and what he did after his first year, like, I don't think he's going to be slowing down. I would bet that Kaprizov's even better this year. So he's making a bunch of dough, but that team needs him, and they ponied up and paid him. And so you just hope now that in those 5 years, this team can really get going on a different trajectory that they've had in the past in terms of always middling around, barely making the playoffs or barely missing. Now they can really start going. And then in 5 years, if he's still a dominant player in the league, which I think everyone here and every fan that's watched him play believes, then he's going to maybe want to re-sign there when he's UFA. So now you got to get this team good because he's going to be a certain like builder for that entire organization as they get better.
I think that was one of the reasons why it took so long for Guerin to figure out what he could give him, because there were not really many comparables, if any, to what he could give him. And one of the other funny things that happened during the press conference was they asked him about the fact that it's an Olympic year, and he gave a long-winded reply in Russian. I think there was a translator, and Guerin's like, I know what you said. We're coming for you, because he's the assistant GM of the States. Now, I think the first time that he really came on the scene was actually at that last Olympics when the players didn't go, because he was still playing in the KHL at the time. And I would probably say the craziest gold medal game to ever happen in Olympics when they it was OAR. I don't know what the initial stand
Olympic
for.
Athletes of Russia. From all the doping, they weren't even team
because they were all getting shot in the ass with the Russian gas. But he ended up scoring the OT winner against Germany, where I want to say Russia was up Russia went up 2-1. Then Germany responded to tie it, and then Germany ended up going ahead, and then Russia tied it late. So there was like crazy amount of action in that third period, and then of course he became the hero, and that's really when he popped on. But even like going back, like this guy started in the KHL as a 17-year-old, and I mean, you played over there with, I don't know how many 17-year-olds are ready to play in the fucking KHL.
There's some on each team, but they don't play much. You know, there's actually a kid, I think, on St. Petersburg. I wish I could think of his name. That's like legit at 17. I've already seen some highlights.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say that He also probably he probably could have got double the payday in the KHL. He's taking a pay cut to play for the Wild.
Well, because when he threatened it, people thought he was going to go back because he spent his first couple years in Nova Kuznets. And that's a place that we've talked about a few times on the podcast as not being maybe the best place to hang out with. Was that where Tim Stapleton played?
No, it's where
Sopel played?
Sopel played.
Well, yeah, the crocodile, the alligator or crocodile drug.
Place is disgusting.
Yeah. And then he ended up going off to another place for 1 year, but then CSK Moscow had him for 3 years. So that's probably where you're assuming he got his bag, and maybe he could have returned and got his bag.
Oh, yeah. He could probably go there forever now and get another bag because I believe they won a title there. And, yeah, he was the best player. He would have been over sooner, but he was under contract over there. But the fact remains that I wouldn't be surprised if he's even better this season. I think this is just the beginning of what he's going to be. I think over a full 82 game season, I think he's a 90-point guy.
And even going back before that World Juniors, I think it was his second one. It was 7 games. He had 9 goals. He was an absolute electric factory. So he really thrives for that big moment. And if you want to get a real breakdown of how the contract negotiations went down, did you end up reading that Michael Russo article?
No.
So Kaprizov was frustrated because he thought that this was going to be done earlier in the summer. There was a bit of a holdout and there was not much dialogue going on, but in order to get ready for the season, he didn't tell the team, but he flew over to Florida. So he had his COVID shots and he was all ready with the immigration situation and got kind of settled in. And then Kaprizov's agent ended up reaching out to Guerin and he's like, "Hey, do you got time?" And he's like, "I'm in a meeting." He's like, "Yeah, you might want to step out for this." So he goes, "Hey, we need to sit down and have a serious talk." So Guerin ended up flying down to Florida and they sat down. And that's when I was talking about the Tarasenko situation. Sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect. And I think that Kaprizov wanted to understand maybe why he wasn't getting as maybe many years or as much money as he had anticipated and wanted to know what the future of the team held, if this was going to be a contender and how maybe Guerin planned on doing it. So they had obviously great conversations there. They end up inking the 5-year deal. And then they shared a PJ back to Minnesota together. And he said they talked the whole time for 3 hours. Now Kaprizov's got some broken English and some of the dialogue was done with Google Translate. But if you could go check out, if you're really interested in one of the young up and coming stars in our league, Michael Russo wrote an incredible article. I read the whole thing, only took me about 2 days. And I think you should check it out if you care about understanding the dynamic sometimes between these big contracts and how sometimes there's there's some miscommunication and dialogue.
I hate to break it to you, and I hate to break it to Russo, who, thinks he's so dialed in with the Wild, but you both have it wrong. He was actually furious that they had sent him in the third group with the scrubs in camp after Foligno told us he never got over it, and he wouldn't sign till they promised him to never skate him with an East Coast League / AHL guy in camp again.
Hey, Whit, that 16-year-old was Mateev Michkov.
Yes, 16. Michkov. I think they're looking at him for whatever 2024 draft or whatever it would be.
2023 projected.
So is that
overall.
when Bedard
wait, back it up. Because I was talking to Donor the other day, and speaking of these young stars coming up, the last time there was a legitimate, at least according to the serious talent evaluators / scouts in the NHL, the last A+ prospect in the draft was Austin Matthews. Where they knew he was going to come in and he was going to dominate. Apparently there's 4 in the next 2 years. Shane Wright, who's up this year, and the year following, there's 3 guys, Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, and this Dalibor Dvorsky. That's the Russian kid.
So maybe Mishkov's the next year.
Oh, so there's another A+er?
Granted, I don't know about the A+ rating and how the scouts look at these can't miss guys, the McDavid, Matthews, Patrick Kanes, but this kid's in the KHL scoring goals for St. Petersburg, who's a top team every year, and I think he's 16 years old. He's got full cage on in the league, dude.
Yeah, he does.
So I just love seeing this. It's every sport.
Kornelikov?
It's every sport. The young guns are coming in. People are ready to dominate professional leagues at 18 years old. Football's a little different because you can't go till after 3 years from graduating high school. But it is wild to see these hockey players and how good they can be at such a young age. It's so good for the game.
Bingo. And that's kind of why I alluded to that, is like, we need the stars. We need them shining. We can't be losing them to the KHL. And going back to what I said about the rated A+, it doesn't mean that guys haven't turned out to be as good as the Austin Matthews and haven't excelled to that level. Like Cale Makar was not ranked that when he was drafted. He's turned into an A+ type player. But I'm just saying is that was the last time where they saw a guy and they're like, this is a can't miss guy. Like if you draft him, he is going to make an impact right away.
So. Was it Matt Dumba who made Billy Guerin his camera bitch at first pitch at the baseball game? Here you go, Jimmy Olsen, take my pitch.
But he didn't even care. Billy Guerin is the coolest fucking guy in the world.
The type of guy he is, though.
Yeah, he might be one of the cooler cats to play in the NHL in the last 30 years, I would say. Well, everyone loves him.
And they said, were you upset at all? And he goes, no, I never took it personally. Bill Guerin was a guy who sat out twice in contract negotiations during his career. So
I was talking about the camera, not the
No.
Okay, all right. I thought you
sorry, I moved away from that. But yeah, I think they were at a Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, first pitch, and he's like, yeah, take a picture. I kind of did that to Ken Casey from the Dropkick Murphys after the Bruins won the Stanley Cup. Like, I don't know him. I mean, I know who he was, obviously, the Dropkick Murphys, and I was sitting there with Sean Thornton. And I had an old school camera, with film. And I was like, hey, Ken, can you take that picture? And he kind of looked at me like as if to be like, who's this guy? Like, I don't know you. But then I think he realized if he said no, it would have been kind of a dick move, given it was like a Stanley Cup celebration. So he took the camera and took the picture. But so, Ken, if you're wondering who that guy who yelled your name was randomly that night, it was me.
You pigeon tossed him.
Yeah, I got to get that picture. I got to dig it out, too. So a couple other signings, too. Buffalo, they signed cornerstone defenseman Rasmus Dahlin to a 3-year, $18 million deal. The 21-year-old is going into his fourth season. He was the number one pick in the 2018 draft. Whit, I'll go with you again. You're the defenseman on the show. Have you been satisfied with his progress? Do you think Buffalo's been holding him back? Do you think he's on pace? What's your take?
Tough one to say, because I'm actually surprised he wasn't one of those A+ prospects. I remember his World Junior and what everyone said leading up, no-brainer first overall pick, future Nick Lidstrom type. I mean, to say that about a defenseman sounds crazy, but the discussions on him were game breaker, Connor McDavid of defense. And at times he has looked amazing. His skating's ridiculous, his puck handling. The team he's on sucks. He's not great defensively, but he hasn't been really taught or played on a team that makes it easy on a young defenseman to get the job done defensively. So I think right now, if you ask Sabres fans, they probably would have thought they would have had a little more after 3 years of him being in the league. But I still think there could be true greatness ahead of him, right? It depends on where his team goes. It depends on his game and if he continued to get better. But I think the whole offensive side of the game and the puck handling and the skill is all there to be one of the best. It's the defensive zone and being completely well-rounded and a true number one defenseman and being able to play in your own zone as well that the question remains. I don't know. It's really hard to judge players on the Buffalo Sabres. It sounds bizarre, but it's true.
Yeah, I would say that if you're a Sabres fan, you might be like, quote unquote, frustrated at the growth between like when he came in his first year. But as you said, like, there's a massive anchor there in the fact that the rest of the team around him has not gotten any better. In fact, it's gotten worse. So it's really, really difficult to judge this guy. But he is a top caliber pairing defenseman in the NHL. There's no doubt about that. I just think with the guys around him, he hasn't been able to make the impact that he's eventually going to make in this league. So I think it's a great deal. It's quite a bit of coin. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Were you surprised that they didn't lock him in a little longer, or at least try?
I don't know if he'd want to. I don't know if they'd want to because of some of the inconsistencies. I don't think anyone knows what the hell's going on there. You know what I mean? It's like you like we said, you can't blame Kevin Adams. I don't think all the decisions are on him. I think that he's the puppet being puppeteered, whatever the fucking word is. And in the end, there's a lot to be had with this player. There's a lot to be seen, but I think that he could be great still. That's what I mean. Even though last year there were some rough patches.
And he will be RFA after this contract expires as well. So I guess you can look at it somewhat of as a bridge deal, I guess, Biz.
And what I mean by that too, like I haven't watched him that in depth. I'm not saying that he hasn't progressed since his first year. That was his highest point total, given one of those years was COVID and a shortened season. But his defensive game might have progressed. But I think that leap that they're expecting is still yet to come.
All right, moving right along. Columbus Blue Jackets extended our goaltender Elvis Merzlikins to a 5-year, $27 million deal. Comes out to $5.4 million average annual value. He's got a modified no trade clause. All 5 years, he would have to submit a 10-team no trade list. That kicks in next season. He's making $4 million this year. And his tandem partner, Jonas Korpisalo, has 1 year left at $2.8 million. He'll be unrestricted after this year. But Merzlikins, I mean, it's a small, small sample size. 54 starts, 21, 21, and 13, 254 goals against with a pretty impressive 920 save percentage, 7 shutouts. This kid, he's a great goalie, man. What we've seen out of him so far. I was happy to see him get the money, Biz.
Yeah, and you continue to see this trend where there's not necessarily the biggest sample size when they're getting all this money, but I kind of see a trend where they're trying to lock in this guy, and then it's eventually going to be probably a 2 goalie system because they got a couple studs in that system. So what's his AAV at? Just over 5?
5.4.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can get a top caliber goalie under $6 million nowadays, you're laughing, especially with where the cap's headed. So what we've seen of him, he's proven himself. But I mean, Whit, it's really, I would say if there's one position where it's hard to predict, it's the goaltending position. And I know nothing about it, but I mean, good for him for locking that in with such a small sample size.
Perfectly said. Goaltending is just so much depth. It just changes so frequently now that there's so many good young and upcoming goalies that can hop in and show that they could do the job. So when you say there's so many question marks around it, I think part of it is that nowadays you just don't know how quickly you can lose your job. Somebody comes in, you get injured, somebody comes in, they start winning. Look at all the stories the past few years of guys that have just come in and out of nowhere seemingly and stolen starting roles.
And this is a situation where, like, if you can get Korpisalo and him both playing good hockey, and you can get both your goaltenders locked in for $10 million long term, you're in good shape. Because I mean, you see what Bobo got in Florida, and there's just no guarantees in that. So with having that 1-2 punch, they're going to be in good shape for a long time.
Just a reminder that they gave Bobrovsky that contract after they drafted Spencer Knight. It's amazing.
Wild, wacky stuff. Well, whether you're ready to pop the question or mark a special occasion, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Pick from a vast selection of preset diamonds and gemstone jewelry. Blue Nile offers endless options ready to ship the same day. Having trouble choosing? Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7. They're available via phone or chat to help you find or build a memorable gift at every budget. BlueNile.com is the original online jeweler since 1999. They've helped millions of couples create their perfect engagement ring. I believe they did it for our friend Stephen Shea at Barstool, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out, Steve, big Bucks fan. Well, mark the moments that matter with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and listeners get $50 off of $500. This podcast exclusive offer includes engagement rings as well. So, boys, if you're looking to lock it up, boom, check it out. You want to use the code Chiclets, CHICLETS. Once again, that code is Chiclets. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today and use the code Chiclets.
Maybe I would have used them if I didn't have Katie on waivers right now for lining me up for the worst fucking haircut of all time.
Can we put the pictures up?
Grinelli, post this picture that I ended up sending Whit. And the funniest part about it is I get a FaceTime call from Jans, and I'm like, oh, he's calling to check in. And he goes, show me your haircut.
Nah.
So she lines me up with this guy, RA. So when she first got to town, she reached up to a couple of her girlfriends to be like, hey, where can I get my hair styled? So she ended up going in. She got a cut. She enjoyed it, but she's like, this guy was the most obnoxious guy that I've ever been around in my entire life. So I normally go to a barber and I get the fades done. So now that my hair went crazy, I needed somebody to style it like a TikTok star. So she ends up lining this up, or she messaged him. She goes, do you know anybody who could style men's hair? Here's my boyfriend, Sal. And he goes, well, when's he need it by? She says, well, in the next couple of days. So he goes, I think the guy goes, come by at 5:30 tonight. So perfect. So we line up a haircut. We're heading over there.
The most annoying guy in the world?
The most buddy, my
Did
blood.
she tell you that before?
Keep in mind, I don't know this. This is something that I found out afterward.
Oh,
but
she did
wait,
you so dirty, dude.
When I say afterward, I got to experience it. While we're driving to the haircut, she goes, just a heads up.
Okay.
This guy's extremely obnoxious. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm going to be in the chair for 30 minutes. If he dials in my salad, who gives a fuck?
Like, I work with wit. I can.
I'm like, I'm fucking painful. Who cares? I mean, people listen to me talk for hours on this thing. So, and then she goes, oh yeah. Also, he was in an ATV accident last week, so he's a little banged up right now. So I'm like, okay. I mean, we're fucking pulling in as I'm being told this. So I get in there and he's everything is advertised, on top of the fact that he probably just did a big bowl of woof because this guy didn't shut the fuck up for 35 fucking minutes. So as soon as I sit down in the chair, he's like, well, how do you want it styled? I said, well, I want it shorter on the sides. I want it to blend it up to the top, and I want to leave the length on the top. I said, I do like to get my neck cleaned up with the clipper though. The zzz.
Yeah.
So he goes, okay, perfect. We'll do that before we wash your hair. Awesome. He literally how at the back of your head where sometimes it goes into a little bit of a point. He just literally goes, zzz, takes the point off. And then he grabs his scissors out and the brush. And I said, and now I'm on my fucking heels, like McDavid's coming down on me one-on-one, working my goddamn triangle. So I said, wait, you said you were going to wash it before we start cutting. He's like, oh yeah. So then we walk over to,
it's for him to forget.
So now I'm fucking reminding him of his job. Okay. So I don't know if he, like I said, he took a couple key tokes, whatever it was. So we walk over to get my hair washed. I have an SOS pad. My mom's half black. That's one thing that I inherited, was I have very, very thick hair. So he puts me down in this chair and proceeds to spray the water gun at my head for 5 seconds. So basically one strand of my hair is wet.
No, it bounces off your hair. It hit him right back in the face. Like you need to do at least 5 minutes on your hair.
So my hair is actually
remotely damp.
My hair is actually drier than when I sat down. So he puts shampoo in, proceeds to shampoo my head for about 5 to 10 seconds, sprays my head for another 5 seconds, puts conditioner in, starts rubbing my head for about 5 to 10 seconds, sprays it for 5 seconds. All right, we're good to go.
That's supposed to be like an 8-minute experience when you're getting your hair washed at the.
And listen, do I need a full scalp massage? No, but wash my hair properly and get it ready to go and get the full thing wet so you can cut it. Whit, I'm like shaking at this point, walking back the seat. And as I said, he's got me on my heels, so I can't abort the mission at this point. I'm walking back and I run my hand through my hair, shampoo and conditioner in the palm of my hand. So I sit down and he just starts blabbling on. Mind you, Katie's sitting right next to me and she can kind of see something's up. He cuts one side of my hair, and throw the picture up again. He cuts the one side 20 times. He's blabbing along, cuts a little off the top, cuts the other side about 2 or 3 times. And then he starts styling it with his fingers a little bit. He goes, all right, how do you like it? And Katie stands up. She goes, I think, and she knows I'm going to fucking lose it when we leave this place because she could see the look on my face. So she goes to the side where he only cut a couple times. She's like, I think you need to take a little bit more off this side. So he starts cutting a few more times. And then she's like, and she starts to chime in. I said, nope, looks great. What do I owe you? He goes, $30. I tip him 10. We get out of there. As soon as we walk out, she goes, are you going to text Mike, the guy who normally cuts my hair? I said, I've already sent the fucking text. So Katie's on waivers. She went right from the show to the ECHL. So be riding the sleeper bus, eating soggy subs for at least a month here. So
it's amazing what he was able to do from the picture you sent me to what it looks like now. Is the back line a nightmare though?
No, it's not. It's not as it's got to grow in a little bit. But one of the details I forgot to mention when I got back to the seat, you know how after it's a little bit wet, they start combing it in order to like get it going before they cut it. Every time that he put the brush in my head, it got stuck because of the curls. He didn't try to keep going to get it through. He just went till it got stuck and then like pried the brush out and then did it again and then pried the brush out. Never once did he actually go all the way to comb it through. So I want to fight the fucking guy in Rough and Rowdy, Grinelli.
I would have gone on vacation after that. Like that's That's a tough day.
And everybody listening to this has been to a haircut where they know that the minute they sit down, it's not going to go well. Although, RA, you might be a special case because you're kind of an off the glass and out. Like, how long have you just been shaving your head?
About 20 years now. Like,
Before,
I mean, obviously I'm not consistent. I'll let it grow out and then go the barber every once in a while. But I initially shaved it about 20 years ago, and I looked and realized I was living a lie.
And based off the picture and the fact that my sideburns when I left there were longer than the hairs on top of my head. So I think anybody who's watching this on YouTube has seen how fucking ridiculous my head looked after I left there. And
one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen.
I think I thought Ashton Kutcher was going to pop out. I thought I was being punked, but I guess not. So no more Blue Nile for Katie. And sorry for wasting everybody's time with that story.
That's quite all right, Biz. Everybody enjoys your stories on here. And actually, this next signing pretty much carries the same, same theme as the previous one. Elvis Merzlikins signed a pretty good deal. Not a ton of starts. Well, the LA Kings inked goaltender Cal Petersen to a 3-year, $15 million extension. It's got a modified no-trade clause, 10 teams he doesn't want to go to if they ask. He's only got 50 career starts in the NHL, 19, 25, and 6 with a 2.79 goals against, 9.16. Save percentage and a shutout. What's interesting is the first year of his extension is the last year of Jonathan Quick's deal. So, again, it's very similar to the Korpisalo Merzlikins thing where this guy, hey, you got a guy in a contract here, might play his balls off versus a guy going into his extension. So, either way, you wonder what the future is of Jonathan Quick in LA going forward, Biz.
Also interesting.
I mean, he's probably going to play mentor and then play 30 games. I would say that Cal Petersen's probably got the net as far as this season. Even if it's 50-50, you get to ease your next goaltender into things and not just throw him into the fire, which is, to me, a perfect situation. And I was fortunate enough to play in Ontario with Mike Stuthers, and he'd been raving about this guy since he got there. I want to say he played at Notre Dame.
Classic Biz right here.
Oh, Petersen, you talking about?
Yep.
I'll bet you what one.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Please have it be like
correct.
Yes.
Biz.
Yep.
University of Notre Dame.
Good job, Biz.
Suck on that, Whit dog.
So, Biz.
Yeah.
I just want to see what the Kings got this year. That's one of those teams. I don't know how it's going to go. I think they could be good. It's also so early, and a lot of these young guys they've brought in by field, different players. I am excited to see where they go, though.
Well, that and who's the kid from Montreal they brought in? God, I'm drawing a blank. I blew my load on
Philip
Deneau.
I mean, Doughty was talking about it on 31 Thoughts. He said he's sick of losing, and Blakey had to make some moves in order to bolster that lineup. So they're very, very strong down the middle. And now that allows Quentin Byfield to probably play third line center. If not, they may move him to a wing position on the top
play
six.
Wing a little bit.
Yeah, so it's I think they're in a good situation, and I'm really interested to see what happens in that Pacific Division because it's up. What's that?
I was going to say pretty nice raise for Petersen going from $858 and change up to $5 million when the extension kicks in next year.
Yeah, but then you get California taxes, so he's right back to $850.
Sign for $5 million. I make 1.2.
Great.
Yeah, that's an IOU. That's as good as money.
Right. One more signing here. The Blues
signed a Lamborghini.
Blues
I want to keep that one.
Forward Robert Thomas, 2 years, $5.6 million. The 22-year-old had 12 points in 33 games played last year. So I know he
looked great when they're on their run to the Cup. And I know he battled injuries. Like, that's a guy who could pop off at a nice number. I love saying pop off. Biz gave me that word years ago.
You're welcome.
But he could have a lot to say about
though.
St. Louis bouncing back, and he's not making a ton of money.
Sorry, Whit, we were interrupting you there. We were having a little fun.
I wasn't listening to you guys. When I get interrupted, I just keep going. I'm like a freight train.
I didn't. Can you repeat what you said though? Because I didn't hear it.
I just said that Thomas could be nice, and he doesn't make a lot of money, and it's a pretty good signing by our boy Doug Armstrong, who also got re-signed.
Yeah,
5 more years for big game Doug.
You know also who we brought in on a PTO? The PTO master,
real deal,
the real deal. James,
he had a hat trick.
Listen, I don't put too much stock into preseason, but play on the Leafs parade.
Leafs are losing right now in Montreal.
Oh, are they? No, sell the farm. But yeah, James Neal, man, he needs a bounce back year, and I would imagine they're going to sign him for probably veteran league minimum, and he's probably going to put 40 tucks in the back of the net. So off to a hot start, and I mean, yeah, the real deal, James Neal in St. Louis. Maybe one of the reasons why they probably were able to get rid of Sanford. They ended up trading him off to
Well,
Ottawa.
they got Logan Brown back.
I was going to get to all that. Yeah, Charlie. We had a little.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. We had a little St. Louis Blues bubble here. Yeah, you just mentioned they signed you guys, Doug Armstrong, who brought you guys in for some per DMs a few years back. They signed him to a 5-year contract extension that will take him through 2026. He's also the general manager of Team Canada in Beijing next year as well. The Blues also announced that Peter Chiarelli has been named vice president of hockey operations, and that Ken Hitchcock will rejoin the organization as a coaching consultant. In that move, I was just about to get to, where is it here? Yep, St. Louis traded forward Zach Sanford to Ottawa for forward Logan Brown in a conditional fourth and 22. 26-year-old Sanford had 16 points in 52 games last year. He's got 1 year left at $2 million. The 23-year-old Brown had 9 points in 13 AHL games last year. He's had the injury bug bite him a couple times, making $750,000 this year. The conditional draft pick is removed from the deal if Brown plays more than 30 NHL games this season. Kind of like we were talking about with Eichel earlier, I guess, Biz, as far as trade value. If a guy plays X amount of games, they'll determine draft picks on that. So, but either way, Sanford to Ottawa for Logan Brown and a conditional fourth. It looks like one of those trades maybe that might benefit both guys who could probably use a change of scenery.
Yeah, and going back to Sanford, I guess I'll say probably the best memory of a cup parade, him puking on the driver because he was so buckled from the night before.
He was buckled from that day.
yeah, and that day he was trying to get the hair of the dog in him to chase it away. But he ended up yucking on the driver in that drop top. But I tell you what, man, he was really, really big in that cup run for the St. Louis Blues. He was one of the guys involved in that altercation that got them going, wasn't he?
Yes, he's the one who got beat up by Bobby Ortuzzo.
Yeah, Bobby, Ortuzzo.
You know.
So, I mean, Sanford, man, he was very impactful in his time there. And as far as them bringing in Logan Brown, you mentioned that injury bug, RA. I think he even dealt with it a little bit in junior, up and down between the minors in Ottawa. Maybe adds a little depth at that center position, and Army's seeing a little bit more than I guess maybe what other people are. So we'll see. I mean, it's people put a lot of stock into these guys in how much they perform earlier in their careers. But I mean, the guy's only 23 years old, and some guys are just, late bloomers. So going to an organization like St. Louis with a lot of good, wily veterans surrounding him, I think, maybe he could take that next step and become a full-time NHLer.
And he's from there.
Healthy.
It's cool. Like he's from St. Louis. So maybe that really gives him a jolt. He probably always wanted to play for the Blues. Now he's going home.
Yeah. Home cooking.
All right, a few other player notes here before we get to Robin Lehner. Our buddy Hazy had to get a little surgery. He got abdominal surgery. I guess he was skating, felt a little tweak. He did have the hernia issue back earlier this year. He's going to miss about the first 9 or 10 games. He also spoke with the media about losing his brother and how much the hockey community has rallied around him and supported him. And it breaks your heart to see Kev up there talking like that, but it was nice to hear him acknowledge, how kind the greater hockey community has been to him with.
Yeah, it was great. And you talked about all these different people who reached out to him and former and current teammates who showed up to Jimmy's funeral and services. And I think it's also cool that he mentioned how close him and Keith Yandel are, and the fact that they're living together this year helps out a ton. It sucks to see him get injured, but he'll get back, get healthy, and be there for most of the season. It's just a bummer to begin your season going under the knife and with something you've dealt with in the past.
And not to make light of his surgery, but when I got FaceTime call from Jans, he was there in the room because you said they're living together, and I think that he got just as bad as a haircut on his ball bag as I did on my head from the nurse before his surgery, because he still had sideburns off the side of his horn, much like the guy who cut my salad.
Like those things of hair Jewish people have. What are those tendrils?
I don't know. That'd be a question for RA. Do you know what that is?
Is that a tendril? Jewish Orthodox people?
Look it up.
I know you're talking about the curly cues on the side. Like,
is that called a tendril? Is that on a fish?
If you get this, I think
a tendril's part of an animal.
Says it's a peyote.
What's a tendril? Google tendril.
A tendril's like an antenna or some sort of thing with an animal, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, man, you were way off.
Man.
Big gulp.
You've had 2 gloves on the entire time?
Oh, my God. That is -5.
Oh, you were kind of Sweat. A tendril is a slender thread-like appendage of a climbing plant, also often grown in a spiral form that stretches out. It's basically like a vine, like a. So
He had a couple tendrils on the side of his horn.
That's probably the more politically correct way to say about it. So actually, you get +5 there, Whit Dog.
I don't know how Jewish Orthodox people got dragged through the mud.
Well, because
talking about
there's a curly Q. There's a curly Q aspect to it. If you're looking at the pictures there, so I wonder if they are called.
We'll
tendrils.
just have Hazy send us a picture, and we'll get that on. We're business haircut pictures on. As well.
Maybe he actually had the same guy cut his ball bag before surgery that cut my salad.
Tendril. Something. Also, something.
And Foley was the one who planned the whole thing. It was a giant prank. We haven't told you yet.
Has he had any good ones lately?
No, he's slowed down. He's just fairway Foles. He's an Instagram influencer now, so he's not a prankster.
That's right. Hey,
he missed like a 4-footer the other day to break 80 for the first time in his life.
Hey, what about making him? What about making him the first non-hockey player to join a Sandbagger?
Oh, he would
maybe him and Ned Havern together.
Oh, dude, I think that would be an absolute monster hit. Now, people viewing would be like, who are these people? It would be, if we have viewers of Sandbaggers who don't listen to the pod, which there might be some, they might be like, who are these guys? But if you've listened to the pod, you know about Foley and Ned, you're tuning in, and it would be exactly what you think it would be.
I'm pretty sure.
We got Yans and Motts from the Rink Shrinks at some point, too.
Okay. But I'm pretty sure every person listening knows the guy who threw me a beautiful saucer pass on a 5-on-3 to thinking
no look behind the back to thinking I was going to step into this thing and get him a nice primary assist. Where his first 5-on-3 time of the year.
Yeah, because our boy Nettie Haverd, he played at BC and he was more of a role guy there, but he was playing power play in the ECHL with the Wheeling Nailers when I was on the team. And we've told the story before, but he throws it back to me and thinking I was going to step into it. And I'm at center ice fighting Lane Manson 6'10" for the Dayton Bombers. So, yeah, we should definitely get him and Foles in the action, and maybe RA on the commentary.
6'10". Jesus Christ.
Every time I tell the story, he gains an inch.
Bigger.
Oh, he's going to be 7'4" by the end of our contracts at Barstool in 10 years.
Let's see. All right, a couple more notes, boys. Edmonton goalie Alex Stalock is likely out for the season due to a possible heart issue, GM Kenny Holland said. Hopefully he'll get better. Hate to hear anything like that, especially to do with the ticker. Pittsburgh GM Ron Hextall said Evgeny Malkin is going to miss the first 2 months of the season, so Sid, Ian, Gino will both be able to start. We'll obviously keep note of that in the gambling corner once the league starts back up.
All right, can I hop in here quick on the Pittsburgh talk?
Yeah.
Whit, where does Pittsburgh go from here? Like, I'm not saying hit the panic button by any regards. Like, that's a very, very difficult division now. Like, even New Jersey's not a pushover. A good start to the season is going to be very important. So they're out with Sid, who they said he's going to miss max 6 weeks. And then they got Gino out of the lineup. Thankfully, they ended up trading for Jeff Carter, who's going to be strength at center in their absence. But like, do you think they're going to make playoffs this year?
I don't know. It could be a real struggle for them. And I actually read some tweets from Rob Rossi, he's been on the Penguins like beat in Pittsburgh sports for 20 years now, I think. And he said their prospect pipeline is absolutely bone dry. He said there's not much there. And so I don't really know. I mean, this is what happens when you have such a good team for so long. If Sid and Gino are in the lineup, everything's a different story. But with them out, are they going to be able to win games? Are they going to be able to score it all? So they're going to need goaltending and team defense until they get those guys back. Even Jeff Carter, it's not enough, right? If he's just up there alone, first-line center, and then after that, you're mixing and matching guys who never really played at that role.
So I was on the Mark Madden show, and he asked me that exact question. Like, are they going to make playoffs? And like, where do they go from here? Mind you, the year they ended up winning, I want to say their second cup. Letang was injured. They did not have at least on paper, a very good back end. I think Dumoulin might have been their best defender. That was when Ian Cole had a big a playoff run. But what they did is they got goaltending from Murray. Let's see what Jari can do. I love a comeback story. He did not have a good playoff last year. But if they're able to keep, I guess, afloat, and then they get Sid, Gino, and then Carter at third line center, I mean, it's kind of what they had when they won that second cup. So I guess you could never count them out. But I mean, this is the years are dwindling here for their window. So like Darren Dreger said, Crosby to the Avalanche.
Montreal's Mike Hoffman, he failed his physical as well. He could be out for up to 4 weeks. Of course, he signed a 3-year, $13.5 million deal at Montreal, so he'll want to get healthy so he can get paid. Washington, they unveiled the first NHL jersey with an ad on it. It's not going to take effect until next year. They're going to have the rival gambling company will be on their home jerseys. They're a rival company, so we're not going to say their name, but they're going to have a logo on the right above the right titty. But they're the first team to acknowledge having advertisements on the jersey, so that's why we're reporting it. That's all. I said above the right titty. Because some teams, Paul, like they might have diagonals, so they don't know. Each team's going to be able to decide where they're at. Because it can only be like 3 by 3.5 inches. It's got to be either here or here. So some like the Rangers with the diagonal letter, and then we'll have to go on the opposite side.
Biz will be like, get rid of the spoke B for the Bruins. We can get an extra $50K if you just put the ad in the middle of the chest. Don't worry about the logo.
And one last one before we send it over to Robin Lehner. The cross-checking rules. It's one of these situations where the league's like, oh, we're going to crack down on it. And it basically just sounds like they're going to enforce rules that have already been on the books for the last 100 years. I don't know if you guys remember the lockout in 2005. All they did was just call all the rules that were already on the books and just enforce them a lot more. So it just seems like that's all they're going to do is crack down on the cross-checking.
Like, oh, so they're going to enforce it in preseason, and after a week into the season, it's going to be back to normal. I honestly think that them emphasizing this rule going in has everything to do with Mayfield taking out one of Kucherov's ribs in that conference final.
Well, I think it's just that there's no consistent standard, Paul, where like some games, some guys hit a guy 2, 3, 4 times, nothing happens, and the retaliation gets called, or a guy just hits the second one or the third one. There's just no consistency on it. So I think if you call that first fucking cross-check, guys are going to adapt, Fair
enough.
I think 16 years later, right, when they crack down on all the obstruction hold and an obstruction hook, and anytime a guy takes his hand off his stick in the offensive zone and grabs a guy, it's an automatic penalty. I think it's pretty much for the last 15 years, the ref automatically blows a whistle once a guy puts his open hand on a guy. And ideally, that's what we'll see with cross-checking, man. That first one, by the book, should be a fucking penalty. Call it.
I think ever since they took the can opener away, I feel like that was like the next wave of how guys defended. And Whit, correct me if I'm wrong. When guys are when a defenseman especially is going down on a forward, like in the corner, they usually try to get I think their hands aren't too far apart on the stick. They're fairly close, but they try to just kind of get him right in that hip area in order to throw his hips off in order to contain him and eventually gain possession of the puck. Like, is that something that you used to do?
No, I would reach in and try to get the puck, but I know what you're saying, but they do teach stick on puck way more. But in terms of like trying to maintain a guy to where you keep him in front of you and keep him in the corner, like little cross checks with your hands together can certainly knock a guy off balance. Not the best players in the world, but I think you're better off getting your stick on the ice, trying to get it, whether it's through his legs, which then can be a trip, or around him. Guys are so good now that when you do throw those little cross checks, they can kind of spin off you. And if your stick's in the air, in my opinion, defending that way is never going to do the job, because you can't even have a puck luckily deflect off your stick if the guy's trying to make a pass, if you got it parallel to the ice and you're cross-checking a guy in the back.
Now, saying that, though, you do see it a lot as far as guys trying to defend that way, right? So what you're saying is sticks on pucks.
Stick on pucks. Pucks in deep.
Pucks on net. Yeah, Biz, they said stricter enforcement designed to promote offense and reduce injuries. So, I mean, if the refs are consistent in calling it, like I said.
What do you mean? They don't want the guys pissing blood?
Nah.
Only if they're $17 million over the cap.
All right, boys. I've been teasing for a little bit here. Vegas Golden Knight goaltender Robin Lehner. But before we get to him, I want to let you know that this interview is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage. Cross Country Mortgage is much like us at Barstool, a people-first group of people. They are dedicated to the fundamentals of mortgage lending, which results in a fast, convenient, and less stressful home financing or refinancing experience. And right now, rates are unbelievably low. Don't pay the bank more money than you need to. Cross Country Mortgage makes the process as painless and simple as possible and helps you keep money in your pocket so you can do fun things with it, like take road trips to see your favorite ice hockey team on the road in a fun city. Or just go to Vegas and tear it up. And if you're a homeowner and haven't refied lately, you could be leaving thousands or even tens of thousands on the table. and that money could go toward a new shed toy, a new chainsaw, or some pocket cash, or whatever else you like to play with. Rates are at an all-time low right now and may never get this low again. So call today for a fast, free, great quote and a free home valuation. And when you do, tell them Barstool sent you. So go to crosscountrymortgage.com/Barstool to learn more about your future home buying experience or to refinance your current mortgage. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, and MLS 3029. All loans subject to underwriting approval. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. And now, Robin Lehner. I'd like to welcome our next guest to the show. A second-round pick in the 2009 draft, this goaltender is heading into his 12th NHL season and his third with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's a two-time winner of the Jennings Trophy, a Vezina finalist, and the winner of the 2019 Masterton Trophy. It's a pleasure to welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Robin Lehner. Robin, how's Vegas treating you, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been some time. Biz has been trying to get me on for a bit now, but I figured 12th season. So if it goes wrong here, I'm still happy with my career. Well, if I get kicked out of the league,
let's see what we can do.
It's been a good enough run where Biz hounding you. You can only take it for so long. You had to give in at some point.
You can join the podcast if anything goes wrong this episode, Lehner.
Nice. Then I can really take the filter off. I like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you keep it on ever.
Oh, it's about 90% on.
So you floating it on Twitter is 90% with you with the filter on.
Yeah, 100%.
He'd be off. How many hours before he gets kicked off Twitter if it was 0%, Biz?
Oh, he'd be fucking pigeon toss. He'd be on that site that won't allow any of the liberals or whatever it is. I don't even know.
Telegraph.
Telegraph is what it's called. Hey, so I get one stupid question to start things off, and I couldn't find it online. How did you get the nickname Panda?
It's not as mysterious as it's been. Just that the only thing that I didn't answer, but it's pretty simple. I watched Kung Fu Panda with my son a lot in Chicago, and it's actually a pretty good movie. I like it.
Great movie.
Just the whole thing about it, this fat bear that, learns to move around. And I just saw myself in him, it's, he learned how to play Kung Fu. I'm a big fat goalie that plays in the NHL. It felt like it was fitting.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah. I've lost weight, but I wouldn't say I'm skinny. I'm trying. I got a few more weeks, but we will see.
Yeah, but you're also into the boxing, aren't you? Doing that stuff off? You got to be getting a little bit ripped if you're doing boxing class here and there.
No, I do a lot of it right now. I used to do it a lot back in the day, but now it definitely gets you in shape. But I would like to cut a bit more and keep it going throughout the season. Help the body out a little bit. I've been playing at heavy weights for, up and down in my career, but especially like last 3 years for different reasons. So, but it doesn't necessarily affect my game that much. I just play a little bit differently. And I don't really get injured. But now I'm 30, and if I want to play, no matter how long I want to play, I got to, cut it down a little bit.
Robin, I got to ask about this Jesse Granger tweet that just came out a few hours ago. Something about you digging for snakes at Mark Stone's place. What's this all about? What are you, a snake hunter?
Yeah, no, it's
just no the media running with stories.
No, it happens with me all the time. But no, it was true. Revo is really scared of snakes, and we had a little gathering at Stone's house, and he lives his backyard is. It's very nice, and then over the fence is the desert. So I figured I'd go try to find some snakes to give to Revo, and I didn't find any. But apparently they showed up at Stone's house a few weeks later. So
what were you going to do? Just carry it over right in front of Revo and just make him jump?
Yeah, that was the plan. I was sweating. It was hot. I was, lifting rocks. Going some snake holes, trying to find a rattlesnake or something, but I didn't find any.
Have you seen one in your time there? Because I had one almost follow me into my garage a couple of years ago. There's actually a video online of me having.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Hey, how lucky was that the garage ended up stopping it? It landed right in the middle of it. It stayed there the whole night. I thought it was dead. I went up to it and it was like, so shit. And it almost got me.
I mean, if you know what you're doing, they're harmless.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I fucking.
That's true. Just don't touch it.
He doesn't.
Hey, going back to Stoney, when we had him on last, he was saying sometimes in the locker room when Revo was on the team, you guys would get wrestling a little bit. And he says when your wires would cross, he said that there's nobody in the league that could fucking take you down.
I mean, yeah, that's probably true. I mean, Revo's the best fighter in the league for sure. I mean, I couldn't, with my gear and stuff, it would have been tough on the ice, but there's a little bit of strength and weight difference. I remember, I think it was like second day when I got to Vegas, me and Revo, he wanted to try the bear out right away. And he flew across the room.
Oh, you tossed him?
Nah, it didn't work out well, but wrestling is, it wasn't fighting. We were just feeling each other out a little bit.
Well, we already talked about the boxing, but I think I was reading that your old man is an MMA trainer as well. Do you do a lot of the MMA style training?
No, not my old man. I have good trainers back home, but found obviously here in Vegas, there's a lot of good trainers. So started training with John Woods, and we've been going hard, and they have a lot of good fighters there, and it's been going really well.
Have you been to any title fights, MMA or boxing in Vegas since you've been there?
Nah, it's been, with the COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
I was pissed today. We have our last. We play San Jose away last preseason game, the 9th, and I was gonna go to the Wilder Fury fight, and I'm probably playing that game. So I'm like, I wasn't too happy today, but
you're definitely playing.
I need to get the games, and so. But that fight, I looked forward to it.
What about Raiders games? I know they haven't played too many since they got the new stadium. Have you been able to take one in yet? Are you planning on it?
No, I haven't yet, but I'm gonna go in a couple of weeks.
You're gonna go down the black hole with all those crazy fans.
Yeah, I heard it's amazing.
You're gonna body all of
them. Yeah. No, I heard it's amazing, so I definitely want to go.
So another thing we heard, was it this past summer you were in Morocco riding dune buggies across the Sahara? Was that this past summer?
Yeah, no, I went a little bit of a road trip.
Where'd you go?
No, just with some friends. We were in Eastern Europe for a bit. We were going. We were in Serbia for a while. We went back and forth, and I went to Morocco. We went to Casablanca for about 10 days. Took a long car ride out to the Sahara Desert to spend some time there. So you kind of come to this little village, and then you have to take these beach buggies for about 5 hours into the desert to there's this tent camp, really nice and luxurious actually. And we just spent
5-star?
They call it glamping.
I mean, it was good. It was really nice. It was way better than I thought. Do some camel riding, and it was very peaceful. It was good. Nice mental break from all this craziness for the last few years.
Did you say 10 nights in Casablanca you stayed?
Yeah, wow. 10 nights in Casablanca, but in the desert we were just for a few days, so that wasn't too long.
That's a pretty crazy city, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the city, but yeah, I had to get some traveling in, mentally recharge and travel around. It's in Europe and over there, it's not much restrictions, so everyone's going everywhere. So it's nice to kind of live.
Sorry to interrupt you. On trips like that, are you working out each day, or are you actually totally just getting away and just kind of chilling?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing anything. I rather just mentally recharge for longer period of time and then just work really hard to get in shape. A lot of people do. Everyone does differently, right? Like they just keep it up throughout the summer, do a little bit. I needed my mental break, not think about anything. got real fat. And then I'm like, nah, I got to fix this. And then I had to get working out real hard.
Join the club. I guess we can switch it over to hockey a little bit. Obviously, you guys are contenders. The Vegas has been a contender since they got into the league. Last playoffs, you guys were an absolute buzzsaw until you run into Montreal. What were the Canadians able to do to shut you guys down so effectively? Because guys like Stone, they were on fire the first couple rounds, and they couldn't get anything going versus Montreal.
I mean, it's not about pointing. It wasn't like one guy, got to give Montreal credit. I think the league is so even these days, the top teams, everyone's really good. And in the end of the day, it was a disappointment for us. But you got to look who were Stone and those guys playing against. They're playing against one of the best shutdown, in my opinion, shutdown centermen, that were keeping them busy. And, at the end of the day, we expected more. We all had to do more, but Montreal, they played that. They played really good defensively, and obviously Price, really good goalie. And yeah, it sucks. Second year in a row in the conference final there, we couldn't get over the hump. But I have a feeling that we are getting better and better, and it's experience that's needed, and we can keep hopefully next time when we need it in those situations, we can just, learn from our lessons.
Did it get pretty crazy with all the media coverage with DeBoer going from Flower to you and back to Flower? It was like the whole goalie rotation thing. Did you guys just kind of to roll with the punches when that's all going on? I mean, does it get tense with you guys at all? Or how do you deal with all that?
Well, you deal with it. I mean, yeah. I've been in tandems. I've played with good goalies many times. I think it was more, Vegas being a new hockey city and all that stuff, and what Fleury meant to the town and what the media created in the narrative. Made everything a lot harder, especially for me. But in the end of the day, I'm used to it. I didn't really, I would lie if it didn't affect me at all, but I'm also good at turning that motivation into, positive things. And, it's been pretty crazy, but, in the end of the day, I think it's good to have two good goalies on a team, no matter what anyone says. And showed it last year, I started the bubble when I got here in the playoffs and played the playoffs, and started last season, on opening night. We were going back and forth for a little bit, and I got my concussion, and Fleury took over, and he obviously had an amazing season, and that's what you need. Then came back, and we kind of split again, and no, it's just how it goes. But the media narrative and everything that happened, with the sword picture and with the agents and all that stuff, it was the cult of Fleury was against me for a while.
Is that hard? I mean, they kind of have a rapid fan base all of a sudden out of nowhere, and I feel like maybe the fan base and even the media, to a certain extent, like they were causing maybe a little bit more of the division than was actually even going on behind the scenes, and that ended up.
Nah, they caused a lot of division. It's in the end of the day, it was great between. I mean, in the beginning. I never thought that was going to trade to Vegas, right? I don't think anyone did. I don't think Fleury. I think everyone kind of got caught off guard a little bit. But, so it was a little bit, we're professionals, but it was a little bit weird in the beginning. But the last season, me and we're professionals. We had a good relationship, me and Fleury. And last year it got really good. But the narrative, media, not all fans, but a lot of fans, it was big division. Every game I played that I won was an easy game. Every game that he won, he stole the game. Every game that I lost, I sucked. Every game that he lost, I didn't get help. It just how it was. I can back it up. I follow the stuff. I like to follow the stuff. It motivates me, but it's been a hilarious process to kind of follow. And I think with the whole Alan Walsh thing, and I really like Walsh. By the way, I respect what he did. Actually, he stood up for his client, but it screwed me a bit. It wasn't great at the time, but he does a lot of good things for the players, and our rights. I respect that. And, he still stood up for his client. I respect that. But it turned up the heat, it really did. And this is probably the most pressured season I have coming in this year, and it's the same thing. It's fueled by the narrative of how everything was left and, the whole trade and how everything was. I mean, no one knows what happens behind the scenes. And again, being a new hockey town is such a big deal, like with, Fleury didn't know and all that stuff, but it happens to everyone, man. Like it happened. Well, what did you do? Lundqvist, Lundqvist was sitting in the stands. I mean, like what
everyone's
happens,
time comes, man.
Yeah, it does. And they're like, look, it's the sports, man. We like, when are we going to learn? They don't care. I mean, the last 5-6 years, you find out on Sportsnet or on social media when you get traded. Happened to me when I got traded to Vegas. I was in St. Louis, and I didn't get a call from my agent or anyone. I saw on Twitter, "Oh, I'm going to Vegas." It happened. You hear it all the time, so it's nothing new. And do I think it's right? No, I think I think it sucks that it's that way, but it is that way. And, we all love Fleury. He's a Hall of Fame goalie. I hope he plays for as long as he can. I'm a big fan of his, and, but it's just how the business is, and everything just gets a little bit bigger here, when it comes to that, because he meant so much and still means so much to the city. So it's, I understand it, but it's a little bit exaggerated.
Despite all the negativity you face, like maybe because of the outspokenness or whatever it may be, I feel like a lot of people appreciate you because you are so open about it and the mental health stuff or whatsoever. And you said everybody goes through those periods of time throughout their career, especially if they're going to have a long one. And you just mentioned Lundqvist, him getting healthy scratched. I know that your father trained him early on. Do you like reach out to goalies of the past or other guys in order to maybe get a little bit of guidance through it? Or do you just kind of keep to your inner circle and get through it that way?
No, I don't. I mean, I think I've been through most of what you can go through in this league, to be honest. Just accept how it is. I mean, there's the narrative here in Vegas too, which I kind of, I don't agree with. I love this organization and this team because they have expectations. Every year it's not just what everyone comes into camp. Even when we were in Buffalo and we weren't good, we come into camp say our goal is to win the Stanley Cup. It's every team does it. You understand what I mean? But here it's like, you got to win. Otherwise there's changes. And, I know I got to perform or I'm gone, and that's fine with me. I think that's great because, I play right now. I want to win a cup. And that means they have an organization that's dedicated to win a cup, and they do whatever they can to put the best, coaches, players, whatever it might be to win a cup. And that's the goal. I'm going in my 12th season. I want to win a Stanley Cup, so it's good pressure. When you learn how to handle it, obviously everyone handles that differently.
The one positive though, you're going to be the starter this year. You're going in there. You're going to get a lot of games. The downside of it, maybe some shootouts. I know that you fucking hate shootouts. You've been very vocal about it. What is it about the shootouts that you hate?
That I can't save them.
That he just feels the red light heat every time, Biz.
What would you rather other than shootouts? Would you want more 3-on-3? Like how would you want them to change the rules up?
I don't know, man. I would like a longer 3-on-3. I think the shootout's crazy. I really do. I mean, it actually means a lot too. To be quite honest, if there wasn't a shootout in the league, I'd probably still be in Buffalo, honestly, because,
why did you, how much did you lose there?
Well, listen, man, I have the worst record in history in NHL in shootouts. And I'm kind of proud of that fact, at least one thing in the record book,
Hey, at least you got to play in the shootouts. Fuck, I was stuck on the bench the entire time.
Well, but you weren't playing in the third either, so it had been a while.
Fuck
Hey,
you.
Yeah, the shootouts. I think they make sense in terms of like ending the game at one point, but it does get a little boring at times. But are you bad at like practice at breakaways too, or is it just more when the game?
It's not breakaways and shootouts are two different things.
Agreed.
I listen. It's why, like, people just don't understand. Like, I think I gotta be good at shootouts this year. I'm gonna lose a bunch more weight. It's been a weight related thing, 100%. When there's a breakaway, I see I can see about halfway into our zone. Is he shooting or deking? You come out, you get momentum, and he shoots or he's going to go one side. They usually don't do a crazy deke on a breakaway. They don't have time. People are chasing them. In shootouts, the amount that I weigh for a majority of my career, coming close, really slow, and then take me down one side. And, I'm not as, like, when I get my momentum one side, it's not as fast going back as other goalies. It just isn't. But I'm good at, in real game situations, I'm good at like kind of reading and gaining momentum so I can still be fast. But when they can come slow and pretty much stand still and fake you and then go left, right, left, and, backhand, bar end, what am I going to do? It's that simple to me. It's not like I haven't tried to work on them and stuff like that. It's just I'm not good when they can come slow.
A Carnival cruise ship doesn't stop on a dime, dude. You get that big body moving. You're not.
The chirps are flying here.
Well, he's saying he's a big guy.
I'm not. It's not chirp. The whole. I've been a big guy for majority of my career. It's not like it's a secret. But what I've actually been weighing and what I haven't weighed myself in a long time. So in the end of the day, this season I think I'm going to be in a really good weight. I think if I can get down to like 230, 235, I'll be happy. But that'd be pushing it. It's hard to change momentum and the weights that I've been playing at.
The other thing that interests me about you and is before, you've been on social media, but then this year, even leading up to a start end of May, you're just really open with people and you're talking about the Islanders goaltending coach and who really makes the difference there. The guy Greco, I think it is. And then another guy, You were talking about your time in Ottawa and how it wasn't a mistake to trade you. You were a mess, but they should have never got rid of Ben Bishop. So is it something where you just like being open with fans and you're just a guy who will talk about anything with anyone?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think, I just think in general in the NHL, like we're missing out so much in fans revenue and all that types of things by being all these boxed in people that just stays. We're all robots, right? Everyone says the same thing, and everyone, and there's starting to get some guys with some personality, stuff like that. I just wish, you can be open, honest about things. It doesn't need always to be the robot type thing. And I like to, there's always so many rumors, like this, sports in general, there's always like, okay, this is what happened, this, and they go through 10 different mouths, and most of what you read about people or situations, like none of it's true, how it really is. And we have platforms, and my platform, I'm kind of, when I use it a lot, but I'm inconsistent. But I like to put the truth out there, and my truth. I'm not saying I'm always correct, but when I see stuff happen and talk about those things you mentioned, even the Eichel thing, and how it was for me in Buffalo and all that stuff. I say a lot of things because I want change. It's in the end of the day. I love the NHL. I'm not trying to hurt the NHL. I'm not me and Biz has been talking about this a lot, like privately, right? Like I'm not a guy that's trying to destroy the NHL in any means. I love the NHL. I just want things to be better in all sports leagues in terms of how health and mental health is prioritized, and all those types of things. And if we can't be open and honest about what actually is going on, I mean, how's anything ever going to change, right?
Yeah, kind of like the Sabres to a degree at this point are kind of controlling the narrative. I mean, everybody's going to have their situation or position, on the Eichel situation. Just from being a guy who played there, like, how do you feel about what's going on? Like, the fact that they can control what surgery.
I hate it. I hate it, man. Like, honestly, it's I hate it. I think it's. I think you do. I know they put investments into us and all that stuff, but I still think your body's your body, end of story. I think there are so much bureaucracy that destroys things. You understand what I mean? If Eichel want to make a surgery and they are scared because they could protect the investment, I mean, how hard can it be to just have him sign a waiver then? You understand what I mean? If something goes wrong, he doesn't get paid. You understand what I mean? If he really wants to do it. But it's just it's so boxy, everything. But it bothers me because, Jack Eichel is a world-class talent. I played with him. I respect him. We didn't always see eye to eye, but I respect him as a person, and he's potential to be one of the best players. I think he is one of the best players, and what's going on there. And, I opened my mouth on that this summer too, and in Twitter, and everyone's like, oh, bad timing doing that. Are you doing it for Eichel? No, I'm just shedding light. It was a shit show there, man. And I'm not trying to. And then again, am I saying that to trash the Sabres? No, I'm not. I was a shit show there. Everyone was a shit show there when I was there. We were awful, and I took majority of the blame of it. But, we did also come into when I got there the first year, we came into the biggest experiments in sports when they had 12 new people hired that never seen a hockey puck from all over the world. And I showed and I tweeted out what they did to my ankle. I have all the evidence for it. If I wanted to hurt Sabres, I would have, but they destroyed my ankle that year. End of story, 100%. And again, that's why we have rights to second opinions. And he obviously got a second opinion and gets stopped by the doctors. That makes no sense. Now, why do we have second opinions?
That's what's amazing to me is that they're basically saying that they have zero trust towards the player. And what I mean by that is he cares about his own career. So you think he'd be willing to risk this surgery that he wants and is comfortable with? And almost is he trying to fuck you guys? Do you know what I'm saying? You have to understand this guy, all he wants to do is play hockey. So if you want him to pay for the surgery or whatever, I just, having played the game, maybe I'm jaded, but you got to allow this guy to get the surgery he wants to get. And it's crazy to think that they have the control over him where it was a clusterfuck when you were there and it's still the same exact thing.
Yeah, I mean, they changed a lot. I haven't been there and, I don't know what's happening there now, and honestly, I don't talk to many people over there. So I'm just shedding light on how things was when I was there. And they did screw up my ankle. I had ankle surgery. I still have pins in my ankle because of what they did, 100%. And it also led to other things, which was my fault, but it led to other problems, 100%. Do you understand what I mean? And again, I'm not putting blame on anyone else. I'm my own man. I take decisions, but that thing that happened there was crazy. It really was. And my last view on this whole with the Eichel thing. I mean, in the end of the day, they're hurting themselves and the value of a trade asset, right? The way that this has been handled. And in the end of the day, if you listen to Eichel's interview, where everyone kind of jumped on him, again, I respect him tremendously for, you know what he said there that I respect, but no one else respects, is my life after my career, because no one gives a shit about the lives after our career. Is he going to have a problem in his neck, or is he trying to get an option of surgery that's going to make it better for after his career, right? He has a long career left. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I never even thought about that.
No, but honestly, could what they want be better for the career for sure? But he has to fuse his neck.
He'd need to get 3 more of them throughout his life.
No, exactly. So they're first time. Yes, think long term, please. You know what I mean? our bodies hurt. We play through everything in this hero type culture, play with broken legs and knees and all types of things in playoffs and all this stuff is all courageous. Okay, well, you guys have played in the league. You guys know how we do that. You understand what I mean? But it's not easy to walk after your career. I know a lot of former players, they can't walk. They have problems with their back, surgeries, left, right. What does that lead to? Pain meds, alcohol, all types of shit, right? So in the end of the day, he's taking his health, career, and after career first, and they're stopping him.
And they won't let him.
Oh man, it's what it is. Freedom of speech and choice is under attack in this country these days, eh?
But the good news after that situation in Buffalo, you end up getting the opportunity with the Islanders. How did that come to be? Did Lou originally just reach out to you personally? And like, what was your overall experience with the Islanders? I mean, I know you put up some really good numbers and got your career back on track, and now you're one of the best goalies in the world, bud.
No, I mean, it was, this is what like a lot of people don't know, right? And I mean, that's why, going on your guys' podcast, right? It's always a little bit, the team was a little bit scared of me telling them I was coming with you today.
Oh, Lou hates our guts.
No, my team in Vegas.
They hate our guts too. Great.
The media guy. But it's good conversations, But again, you got to be open and talk, And at the end of the day, I own what happened in Buffalo. It was a lot of mistakes from a lot of different sides. People like to say I screwed up a lot, but it's kind of weird to, I had a 92 save percentage there. I don't know the last goalie that had that there. Ryan Millar did, but through my 3 years, but I was the worst goalie in the world. But that's how it works. You're not winning is the goalie's fault and a coach and all that stuff, right? But it was not good situation for me personally. I regret a lot of things that I did too. I own that. But went to rehab. It was a shit show after rehab, coming out after rehab and you don't know where you're going to be, where you're going to go. You're sitting, waiting. You really have no clue about the future, right? And that was kind of the hardest time I had even before rehab was after rehab. That month and a half of waiting and kind of see things. And I got invited to a few teams to interview. And I went to a team that just treated me like such a piece of shit that I almost relapsed the same day I took the flight back from that place because the GM was good, but the coach sitting there taking shit after rehab and in the mindset that I was in.
Oh, Toronto,
and just getting. No, it wasn't Toronto.
Just belittling you, or just like just shitting on you,
just shitting on me for just totally shitting on me. Absolute piece of shit. Still in the league too, but that's most of those pieces of shit dinosaurs are still in the league. But in the end of the day, I sit there for hours. I was there for a long time. It's like I just came out of rehab. I know I'm a good goalie. Coming there, flew there. Sit in his office and then just like protect myself. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. You're not good at this. Like just sitting there, I'm like, what's the point? Do you understand what I mean? And some of the things that he said, I'm never going to forgive this person. I'm pissed that he's still in the league, but it's what it is. I'm not a type guy that's going to throw him out of the bus and cancel him out. He's a piece of shit, so he will get out eventually himself. But so that was tough. And then you see the real class. I get a call from Long Island. They fly me down Long Island. I had dinner with Lou Lamoriello. He takes me in. We didn't talk about rehab. We didn't talk about the past. We talked about family. We talked about values. He taught me a lot. We sat and had a great dinner. Honestly, like friend to friend. And next morning, breakfast with Barry Trotz, same thing. And it was just that probably saved everything for me, and took a decision. We went there and then, the whole Long Island experience. I know you love Long Island, Whitney, it's the best
I said last episode I might be hopping on board.
They are great, No, but you know what? I had other podcasts the other day, and they asked about my Long Island tattoo. I'm like, it's not like I'm going to put in 5 tattoos of the 5 teams. Listen, Long Island is the only thing that's going on my body. End of story. And it's very important to understand why. Had a tough time and, played early in Ottawa, all that stuff. I had great love Ottawa. They started my career. I started too early. I was thrown in the fire too early, I think. Not mature. I was a shit show in Ottawa. That was all me. Everything went downhill after the concussion. And obviously the Hamburglar went in and stole my job. It was great sitting there at home with migraines. He went like 20-0-1, and
we finally have a goalie. You're just like,
yeah. And on top of it, he got the lifetime sponsorship on McDonald's that I always wanted. So it was.
Yeah, but they'd be pulling you for shootouts if you were crushing Mac 10s that much.
The guy that actually eats fast food don't get it. But I didn't have and no one I didn't become like a favorite there. I was young. I didn't play that much. Buffalo, obviously they hated me there. The only thing I heard was booing, usually started from warm-ups. And you play hockey, you want to be an athlete and a professional to play for fans, right? And this is why, I think, Long Island fans really saved my life. It's the truth. They did save my life. That's why I have a Long Island tattoo on my neck, because, I shared my story there, and Lou was so good to me with that. And he was so, what would you say? He was on board, he really supported me through the whole thing. The whole team did. But then we go out the first preseason game. I've never played in there before. And, Matt Martin, those guys, they're fan favorites. They cheer the loudest for them. But the first preseason game, I had his loudest cheer. I think it's that, middle-class, hard-working class mentality of Long Island. We related to each other. We created a special relationship. And, they were cheering my name all the time, and, they made me love hockey again. They really did. And that relationship that they created with those fans, I will never forget. And I'd be thankful for the rest of my life, because they are a big part of why I'm sitting here in Vegas, still playing my 12th season. I have 4 more years. And how supported they was throughout the whole season, man. I can't explain it. And how much they love the players, they're so personal with all the different players. You understand what I mean? They, again, I know this is very hard for you to hear, Whitney, but you should probably start
what do you mean? He just booked an appointment to get his tattoo.
Yeah, no, but you should
I'm getting
jump
Strong
on
Island, though.
The Vegas and Long Island train is what you should jump on. That's the new.
I can get down with Vegas, but you did mention 12 years in the league. You're only 30, so I don't know if it's still the record, but at the time you were the youngest goalie to ever play in the NHL from Sweden, right? Has that been broken?
No, it hasn't. It was cool, but again, you come in with luck and all that stuff, but looking back at it, it wasn't that much luck. It's hard to be a goalie, at early ages. It really is. Yeah. And there's so many young goalies that, get thrown in fire too early, and, take some time to build up that all this defense systems and the mental strength to handle it. You understand what I mean? You look what Price had to go through since a young age in Montreal. I mean, what happens if he doesn't have that year? I mean, he's one of the best goalies. I can't say enough about him, but the whole Halak thing there, and if he has a bad year after that, or if he doesn't have that monster season before he signed a big ticket where he won the Hart and all that stuff, what if he got injured, stuff like that, right? But in the end of the day, it's taxing, and you see what happened with Carter Hart last season. Great, such a talented goalie, man. I'm such a big fan of Carter Hart being called out left and right by their coach and stuff like that. I mean, things like that. It can, what happens if he has a tough year this year? it's most goalies, I think the statistics is they break into a number one role around 26, 27. I could be wrong. It maybe has changed since last time I knew those statistics, but it takes time. And today's NHL is about younger early. When I came into the league, it was the opposite, right? You had to go through certain things. So I think I was rushed a little bit.
Well, I would imagine they probably got excited after you ended up helping them win the Calder Cup in Binghamton, right? So you go from all that excitement, and I believe you were the MVP of the playoffs too, right?
Yeah, but that was I mean, I was up before that because Pascal Leclerc was injured a lot that year. And so I was up and down. I wasn't even a starter in Binghamton. We lost. We were down 3-1 in the playoffs. I didn't play, and then I jumped into the playoffs, and we ended up turning around, and we won in Binghamton. Then the next year, we had a bad year in Binghamton. All the players kind of left. When you win the Calder Cup, you know how it works. Like players goes to other team, gets better pay. A lot of guys goes up to Ottawa. They wanted me to play another year there, but I was still up and down quite a bit. And it was the third year I broke in with Bishop and Craig Anderson at the lockout season, and they traded Bishop, and I became full time there. And then everything else happened next year with Hamburger, all that stuff that happened pretty quick. So,
Robin, I want to go back to like players' lack of individuality and guys not showing a lot of personality. Is that more of a North American thing? Is that the same way in Sweden? What's your take on that? Is that just hockey culture everywhere?
No, it's. I think it's the most un-American thing there is. If you look at the America, it's about showing personality and showing more than you have, kind of thing, right? Sweden is the total opposite. I think NHL is the only sport, to be honest. It's something deep rooted in the culture, but in the end of the day, I think a lot of players are missing a lot of extra revenue. I think that the NHL is missing a lot of extra revenue and more because, of course, it's team first, all that stuff. We all know that, but you bring more fans if you can follow a personality and someone's life story. And, in the end of the day, you would bring, it's more to the media deals, all that types of things. But when, I think sometimes I sit at home, sometimes I watch a lot of hockey too. I'm like, if I'm a fan, if I didn't play hockey and I'm a fan of hockey and I follow a season, say I'm whatever team I'm a fan of, and I go through the same interview answers for a whole year for 10 years. You understand what I mean? After every loss, it was, the same question. We didn't do that enough. We didn't put the puck in deep. We didn't screen the goalie. Pucks on that. It's the same answers every time. It really is. I'm like, wouldn't I get tired of it? In the end of the day, I think, and that's just a little example, but I think you look at the NBA, you look at NFL, there's like TV shows, reality shows around them into their lives. It's like, people say they're a little controversial, all that types of things, and it's okay. You don't, you can wear whatever you want to games. I mean, it creates more revenue for players, that in terms of endorsement deals, all that types of things, and I just don't understand it. I really don't. I understand 20 years ago, but we're 2021 now. It's I think some stuff got to change.
I was going to ask you, does it feel like it's changing even a little bit right now with some of these younger kids kind of coming out of their shell a little more, like for Austin Matthews, for example, with some of these crazy get-ups?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I love it, but it's kind of it goes in cycles. I remember Seguin and those guys. They always had personality, and like now when they're a little older, it's not as much anymore. I think in the end of the day, I think it's team and it comes from the top, and I think it's just it's just they want it this way, and obviously Batman and those guys have done a great job of the NHL is a great enterprise. It really is, but whereas it's compared to like basketball and all these types of other sports, right? You don't think hockey can be a lot bigger, and I think that's a missing link. It's not no personality. Even those TV shows that we do. those up to Winter Classic TV episodes and all that stuff.
I've been HBO 24/7.
Yeah, but I don't know if you ever was a part of one of those, but I mean, it's very cut. Like it's anything controversial doesn't make it. It's very like showing just the technical. What NHL wants them to see. You understand what I mean? The most controversial ones was probably Brisgalov. Brisgalov stuff. He was funny, but in the end of the day, hockey players are, in my opinion, they're probably the most personality and crazy people around. I have a lot of athlete friends and hockey players. There's a lot of good characters, and I just feel like no one knows.
Hey, they should start following the teams around a rookie party and then just display all the content from the rookie parties.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's
good.
Yeah, that might not go good.
I want to ask you
at the end of the day.
Yeah, you mentioned that you enjoy fast food. What's your favorite chain?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's I actually started liking smash burgers here in Vegas. It's really good.
Never heard of them.
But no, I didn't either. And in COVID, I ordered some, DoorDash stuff. Tried different things. Smash burgers good, but I really anything that I just feel like I don't say no to a fast food here and there, but I don't know. It's tough to say. Chipotle is good too. I like Chipotle a lot.
I'm getting Chipotle tonight. I
just handed you.
I had some before this jumped on the podcast too.
Well, like during camp right now, or even during the regular season, after practice, what are the rest of your days like? Are you somebody who's just kind of hanging out, relaxing, watching shows? Are you out and about? What are your hobbies besides, I guess, the boxing you said you want to keep doing?
I mean, we have a family here, but with kids and you go to the rink, especially in camp, you don't do much, but I haven't had the opportunity to really explore Vegas and stuff yet because of COVID either, but get to know, do more things with the guys maybe and more dinners, stuff like that. But it's pretty laid back right now. Just trying to be in good shape and get ready to the season. Nothing too crazy at the moment.
Did you watch the last game in the Coliseum? I know I saw your tweet to the Coliseum. I mean, fuck, what a building. People hacking darts, chucking beers at the boys. Were you, did you have a little bit of FOMO at the fact that you couldn't be on the ice getting beers chucked at you by the home crowd?
Yeah, no, 100%. It was a great disappointment for both me and Whitney, it's the best building there ever been.
I was going to have to be a waiter at an Italian spot, Borelli.
I know. I saw that. I saw that. I was hoping it so badly. I was rooting against you for sure. No, it's a great building, and it's not just when I played there. It's also the first building I had my first start. I had my first win, first penalty, first playoff start, all those types of things. So it meant a lot to me for sure. And it's such a great atmosphere there. And I know the new arena is going to be nice, but it's not going to be the Coliseum.
Rob, you've obviously talked about mental health issues yourself and others for the last couple of years, and people are mentioning it more. But do you think a lot of it is just sort of lip service, or are the actual tangible changes happening? Because I know everyone's like trying to make it take the stigma away, but sometimes it feels like it's just topical lip service at times.
Yeah, no, 100%. Nothing's changing. I'm doing everything I can trying to join with people that have the same goals, but I try to be optimistic about it, but still you got to be realistic, and there is really nothing changing. There's too much rules and regulations. It's really laws and government and big pharma and all that stuff. It's hard to change, man. And I think it's got to start at the top. More people got to be open and honest about it, because people really don't know what stigma is. And I get a lot of shit for talking about certain things about it. And regarding me not being like equal pay, everyone says, oh, he's crying about this, he making millions and he's crying. No, I'm not. I'm not crying at all. I took this contract with pleasure, and it was a great contract, and I couldn't be more happy about it. It doesn't change the fact that I'm underpaid compared to my comparables. That's just a fact. You see a bunch of new contracts that just came out now the last few weeks on goalies, right? I mean, they make same or more than I do at way less games. You understand what I mean? It's just a reality, and that's the stigma, and that's what people don't know what stigma is, because the big pharmaceutical company run charities are the ones that are the biggest, and they are controlling the narrative, and they it's all bullshit. It really is. This 1 in 5, and not trying. They've probably done a lot of good things too, but they're not helping the actual stigma. And for me, the actual stigma is if you are open, or if someone knows that you have an issue, you will get punished by society. And that's the truth. Why do, we talk about police officers and military. I was in a military group in rehab, and I know firsthand, and I have a lot of friends in the military too, a lot of police officers and all that stuff. But just imagine how fucked up it is, really, to be in a position or in a job that, trauma is what leads up to a lot of issues. And you get trauma every day in your work. You see crazy stuff. And you can't be open that you're struggling about it, because you'll lose your job. Or say that, imagine how many police officers is bipolar, trauma, traumatic stress, all that stuff is a big leading cause to be bipolar. I mean, they cannot say they're bipolar. They get thrown out the force. That means that they can't get the right medicines, that you can be totally normal. So they got to self-medicate. And then they wonder when something goes wrong, what the problem is. Or if a police officer that's put, say, 100 criminals in jail comes out and says he's bipolar 1, I can guarantee you that a lawyer is going to get those 100 criminals out of jail within the first month of that statement. So it's we are punishing people all across the world for being open and honest about issues that we all have. I'm not saying we're all bipolar, but we all struggle with mental health issues at times, and it grows and it can become serious. Yeah, that's the whole point of things. And it's the same problems in sports, especially we don't have more problems than others, but in sports, we call it different names. We make up our own names. Again, old culture. A person, it's this. How many people did you see tap their sticks 30 times and do crazy rituals and all this shit before a game?
Oh, as far as OCD and which skate
exactly.
you got to put on first.
Yeah, exactly. You said OCD, but in the hockey or sports world, that's superstitious. You're superstitious. That's not OCD. How many people have I've seen over my 12 years that have ADHD. You know what I mean? How many young, talented guys have you seen through your career that goes barring in every practice but can't hit the net in a game? And they say, well, he's not clutch. He's nervous. No, he's anxious. Performance anxiety. You understand what I mean? You take inconsistent players that scores a lot of goals or whatever, or goalies that are really good through periods of times, and then they suck. Did they lose their talent? Could it be some type of bipolar in their mood swings? You understand what I mean? But we love as sports teams and leagues to add more sports science. We need 3 more guys up in the gym to measure our heart rate and our blood, all type of blood levels and all that stuff. But God forgive, we put in some mental health professionals that to help that stuff out. I would imagine
the Drouin stuff probably hit home a little bit too. I know he came out recently and he had to leave the team last year, and kind of alluding to what you're saying, it's maybe if there was some more people around, maybe he could have nipped it in the bud earlier or whatever it may be. And then to go even further, it's will him being open and honest about it hurt him moving forward? Is that kind of?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. You know how many players, I've helped a lot of players get help in different ways and with a program, and all that types of stuff, right? But, people always ask me, should I be open and honest? And, I was, and I explained that many times. I had to make that decision to survive, but also to help other people, but also to survive, because in rehab and all that types of stuff, it's about, creating the support system, and the people around you needs to, be your walls kind of thing. But yeah, that's great. And all they say that in rehab, they come out in real life, and then everyone around you tells you, be quiet. So if I was quiet in Long Island and didn't do my article and no one knew or whatever, I would have had a beer on the first plane ride. You understand what I mean? But am I going to tell a player to be open and honest now? I know a lot of people have, but yes, they're going to be punished 100%. Even though all the executive knows that a lot of people in all of our teams and all teams across all sports deal with so much issues, right? And after each contract and stuff that I signed, there's always funny. Then the leaders and people in the organization and all that stuff comes up. It's like, yeah, I struggle with that too. I struggle with that too. And I know that he drinks. I know that he is a substance abuser. I know that he has, family members that have all these types of issues and stuff like that. We all deal with it some way. We're all touched by it by some way, but you definitely get punished by it. And people get mad when I say it, but that is what the stigma is. And it goes through in all types of professions, lower class, middle class, and upper class. And the crazy part about it, why I'm not so optimistic here in the US, is you can't even get help, man. I'm lucky, What am I supposed to say to I promise you, Biz, like I probably have, I don't know how many thousands of messages I have, right, on my social media platforms over the last bunch of years. What do I say to them that can't get medicine because they can't afford it, or get diagnosed, or get help, or go to rehabilitation or whatnot? What am I supposed to say to them? Huh? Yeah, great for me, talk about my story, but what do I say to the people that are not privileged like me? I mean, I looked at in Chicago, my medication was like $3-4 grand a month.
No shit.
But the league paid for it. And thank you to Marchand for paying for my rehab, because he pretty much did that, right? Because he took so many suspensions that one year, and all the suspension money goes to the rehab money. So Marchand, he sent me to rehab, and I appreciate him a lot for it, even though he chirps me for being fat every time I play against him.
What do you go back with? You beak him about his nose? Thanks for getting me healthy, bud.
No. A lot of people call me fat, and I say, yeah, I just had a burger before the game and two Pepsis. So what? Try to score.
Hey, you made a great point, though, that as much as things, might be different because RA brings up, everyone talks about it. Well, in the public eye, like you hear about people in professional sports and occasionally like celebrities taking mental health, right? And they're taking a mental health break. So on online with famous people and celebrities, it's discussed, but you don't think of the people working 9 to 5s that can't afford the help, police and other people that don't have the ability, because in those industries and a lot of people, the jobs they have to make ends meet in Canada and the United States is, you can't be saying you got mental health issues. It's like, what do you fucking mean? You can't come to the plant tomorrow? It's just
disgusting.
Crazy.
It's disgusting. And that medical prices are so much higher here than everywhere else in the world. And, treatments and diagnostics, and there's zero mental health education, which is the biggest part that I think can change things, because that's what rehab does. Rehab educates you. You go through a bunch of things, and you see the patterns, you learn about the different illnesses they think you might have, and you fit in or you don't, and then you do more tests and you try medicines and all types of things. But it doesn't need to be that complicated. I think that should be mental health educations from a young age in school, because then, in the end of the day, they pick their statistics in all the different countries of, who dies from what and when. Mental health kills more people than COVID would ever do every single year. And they say it's like, some study says like 10 million people a year in the world die from mental health issues. I'm like, it's bullshit, man. It's same with these pharma-backed charities, mental health charities saying 1 in 5 are struggling. How the fuck do you know? what poll, what person do they poll that on, and who is honest about mental health issues? You understand what I'm saying? No one is. This is even the more mind-blowing thing is, I went for a long time not knowing I'm bipolar, right? So if I get if someone sends to me if I have mental health, I don't know. You know, if you're not diagnosed or gotten help, you don't know if you have so how do they know how many people have mental health issues, right? It's so it's all these fake narratives all over the place. It's not helping anyone. And you know, the whole Bell Let's Talk thing, I appreciate what they're doing. They're bringing attention and all this stuff, but they're bringing a lot of attention to that Bell name too. But, you know, Bell Let's Talk, go talk to someone and ask them how they're doing. That's not how it fucking works. You know, if I go to someone, stand on top of him and ask him, hey, how are you doing? Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Most people that commit suicides, everyone says, oh, I had no clue that was going to happen. I never saw that coming. You know, if I want to start a conversation with someone, I talk to them about how I'm doing, and then you gain some trust, and then, you know, you get a conversation going. But everything is so backwards with this whole mental health movement in so many different areas. And
well, Robin, you kind of proved it by saying how open you are about it and how many people reached out to you, right? Like you just mentioned starting the conversation. So obviously with you being open about it, a lot of people feel that they can try to lean on you for that type of advice. So
no, but I think the most thing what helps, what I helped with is, and what a lot of people in my shoes say they're successful in something, that open and honest about their mental health, is they show people that are struggling with mental health and that have gotten a diagnosis that you can still make it. You understand what I mean? There's light at the end of the tunnel. We all deal with things, so we need to normalize it, right? Because if you have it inside you and can't talk about it or be open with it, you unconsciously, you tell yourself you're not good enough. You tell yourself there's something wrong with you. And that's why you go into these depressions, and it gets worse. You know, if you get to hide who you really are, right? I mean, how is there a light at the end of the tunnel? And that's what sucks. That's what the stigma is again. Look how they look at the whole world looks at this. Look at the tennis player that came out. Look at the gymnast. What was the gymnast's name?
Simone Biles and
Simone Biles.
Naomi Osaka.
Oh my God, she. I mean, they've saved more people than most people in this country ever do with what they did. But look at the media scrutiny that they got, man. Like, I would love to, every single one of those riders, I would love to. I don't even know what I would love to do to them. You understand what I mean? Because they are the bravest people that I've ever seen. You understand what I mean? Because that's not easy.
Right.
No one, all these people that say that they're soft and quitters and all that type of stuff. How is it soft to look after your health? You understand what I mean? This is the greatest discussion that I have with a lot of people, right? Like old hockey players, but not just folks on hockey. Every athlete, the old timers, the old NFL and all that stuff that fought through injuries, that played through injuries, that were quiet about head with concussion, that fought through it and all that stuff. Okay, that's tough in the general population's eyes. That's tough. But how did they deal with it? I have no idea. How they treated that wasn't tough. How many are alive? How many are healthy? How many, have addiction issues? How many people, like, it's crazy, man. How many have committed suicide because of it? So, you know what? Is that tough? Or is it tough to take care of yourself? You understand what I mean? And try to help others at the same time. And I even saw John McEnroe. We went in and talked about Osaka, the tennis player, and said some shit. Who the fuck is he, man? He should be. He talked enough in his career. Like, it's the most bravest thing ever, and it helps so many people. And again, everyone openly are discussing. Yeah, they will get punished. Yeah, they will get this. They will lose sponsorships. So it's right in front of our noses, but we, no one discusses it. So again, the mental health thing, I'm going to fight till the day I die about it, but it's not going to change until, you get in front of Congress and people really start opening up that this is a reality for a lot of people, and we're all open and honest about it, and laws changes and all that stuff. Because if military and doctors and police officers or whoever it might be can't get treatment for the crazy trauma that they get in their jobs because of bureaucracy and laws and liability, how are you ever going to have a healthy workforce? You know, understand what I mean? How are they ever going to, you know, if they get I'm bipolar. If I'm not on my meds, I do some crazy shit. But they can't. How many untreated bipolar officers are there because they can't be open and honest and get help about it, right? So that's the crazy system that we have in the world. And they also governments and all that stuff, they create the problems too, you know, put the people in student debt for the rest of their life. That probably doesn't cause any issues, right? That's why probably a lot of college students smokes weed at the end of the month when bills got to get paid, and that turns into benzodiazepines.
All right, let's not bring the stoners into this, Robin. All right,
no. I'm just saying, man. Like, you know, the stress. Yeah,
I know what you mean. I'm joking.
The stress of being in debt, you put the whole population in debt. You don't think that's going to cause mental health issues?
No, absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
And we had Shane Corson on. I mean, he had the balls to do it. And this was, Christ, 30 years ago to step away when he needed to, when he was going through some mental health issues. And that was at a time when it was unheard of. But, I mean, he was one of the toughest guys in the league when he did it. So nobody was going to question him, at least to his face. So it's a brave thing for someone to just walk away.
No, I mean, they shouldn't walk away, because, again, if we had the right help and the right people around, I wouldn't have gone to rehab at that time. I would have gotten help early. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was been bipolar for a long time. You know, if there was help around mental health in the NHL early, I wouldn't have gone down that road. I wouldn't have self-medicated like I did, because, you know, in my phases and when I'm manic and things go to 1,000 miles an hour, and when I lock myself in, totally obsessive for crazy amounts of times, and I don't know what's going on in my head, and beer was the only thing that was kind of calming that down. You know, if I had medication from day one, maybe I didn't go down that road, you know?
Right.
It's that's kind of where I want things to go in the future. And I hope that more people listen, because, you know, we want to perfect everyone's bodies in sports, but not their minds. And that's unfortunate, because imagine how many good players that could have gotten a little bit of help and been such a good asset for the league. You understand what I mean? The same for all the other big corporations like Google and stuff. Say 500,000 employees. If it's true what these organizations says, 1 in 5, just do the math. How many people in Google that struggles, if they help them with mental health organization and right medications and diagnostic, how much better would Google be? They're very successful, but how much better would it be, you know? So maybe we should start seeing the upside of helping people.
Hopefully. Let's do a couple quick fun ones with you before we let you go.
It's tough to transition out of that, but we appreciate you speaking up, man. Like, you know, it takes a lot of courage for you to come on and really, really dive into these types of subjects. So thank you very much for that.
No problem. It always goes into this, not unfortunately, but like, you know, I have a lot of other aspects of my life too than the mental health part and journey, you know, and again, the league has given me a great life and great memories and great ups and downs. And you guys have played, you know, it's truly special. I just think, again, I'm not a guy that sits here to say this so someone gets fired or it's a problem. It's try to change it. So hopefully someone I can get in front of more people listen to each other, and not just the people with a suit and tie and that have just a master's degree from a book somewhere, you know, that have no experience about it. It'd be nice if someone that actually has some sort of experience makes some decision.
All right, what do you got? You got any fun ones?
Yeah, a couple of goofy ones. What was the most surprising thing about moving to Vegas that you weren't expecting? Something you were like, holy shit, I had no idea this was here.
Oof. Well, I came here and then COVID hit. So but again, you know, like Vegas is but Vegas, you know, you've seen, I've been in Vegas before, you know, and, you know, the strip and stuff. What surprised me was how good of a family life you can have here.
Okay.
You know, Summerlin, Henderson, all these places. It's just such a fantastic family area. It's a great place to live. I never, you know, when you tell people you live in Vegas, everyone like, okay, the strip all crazy, but out here it's amazing. And also the fans, you know, like such a short, you know, the team hasn't been around that long, and the passion of the fans here is crazy, man. It's unbelievable. And the way they market this team and the atmosphere is nuts. So it's a privilege to play here for sure.
I want to go back to when you were growing up. So your father was Lundqvist's goalie coach. Now, had he ever played?
No, he didn't. But my father used to be a karate fighter when he was in his younger years. He was successful at that. But I wasn't very into hockey. He got me into trying playing hockey when I was 10 years old. And I don't remember exactly how him and Lundqvist kind of get in touch, but my father always loved hockey, and he started training Christian Huselius for off-season training, you know, him and some of his friends. And I don't know how everything kind of got collected, but he always loved goalies. He always looked at goalies. And what happened was he started working out a lot working with Lundqvist a lot. And he actually used me when I was younger to try things out. And then he went to Lundqvist. But he's really good at that mental aspect of he's a very strong mind, my father, you know, and pressure and stuff like that. So I think he helped him a lot with that. And then eventually became, when he played in Frölunda, he was his goalie coach and helped him get over some of those things. I think I was involved that much. And so he worked with him quite a bit, but I was quite young. And I wasn't around that much.
Interesting. It's wild. Like a goalie, like who ended up being like world class and has a Hall of Fame career is doing on ice drills with a guy who never played goalie before.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of good coaches that didn't play goalie or didn't necessarily play the game. You understand what I mean? I think he got a good grasp of what's. How to become better at the position and open up to try new things, and especially the mental part of the game, because there's a lot of pressure in the game and stuff like that. You got to get over and learn. So, there's a lot of good goaltending coaches around the league, but not everyone has played at certain levels. It's the same that Gretzky wasn't the best head coach, right? Because he was the best player, you know.
You've been a part of like tandems, you know, it was with Flower, It was with Grice, and this year you must be excited to be the guy. Like, you hoping to play 60 games? Do you even think about a number? Or, I mean, is that way too many?
You know what? I've gotten that question so many times the last few weeks. And
way to go, Whit.
Whitney, no, but like I hate it because it's honestly it's disrespectful, you know, like, because in the end of the day, you know, Brasser is a great goalie. You know, he is. Goalie position is a lot about luck. Where do you end up? Where is the position open? He got landed behind Hellebuyck, who plays a lot of games. But, you know, Brasser's a good goalie. And I don't look at it that way. You know, yes, I want to play as much as possible. I could play 70 games, no problem. And I would love to play a lot. But here's the reality. I also have philosophy. I'm a team guy, and there are certain things off record and stuff that people will someday know, like, play the best goalie at the time. You understand what I mean? If someone on a roll, why not play him? You know, it's about winning as a team, you know, and I don't see that, you know, everyone says I'm a starter now. Well, I got traded here to Vegas, not to back up. That's the truth. You know, I got to, I had a great camp before the bubble. I started the playoffs, you know, and I started last season. We started back and forth for the first few games, but I was going to play more, and I got injured. I think you need two good goalies in a team these days. I really do. You know, do you want to have an investment in a team with one goalie and he gets injured and then that season's gone? You understand what I mean? Like, you need two capable goalies, and the game is getting more. What can you say? The game is getting way more physically demanding, and I feel like, you don't play 70 games anymore. You need two goalies, and sometimes when someone gets cold, you need someone else to step up. And no, so I don't see it that way.
Robin, now that things have finally started to open back up, do you have any shows or local attractions that you plan on hitting up? Grand Canyon, anything like that?
Nah, yeah, for sure. I'm starting to look around quite a bit. Start going to dinners and stuff like that. But I like to get down to the Strip, and there's obviously a lot of shows, and the Raiders and all that stuff now. So
yeah,
it's a lot to pick from, so it's I gotta figure it out. But right now it's the Raiders. I wanted to go to that Wilder fight and obviously some UFC events and stuff. So we'll see. This is going to be a different type of year. So it's going to be fun also traveling again.
I had this one teed up. I just want to know who your favorite UFC guys are. Like, are you a big McGregor guy?
Yeah, I am. Not for. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's the best fighter. I think he's again, like we talked about hockey earlier. It's about marketing, right? Like, he brought the sport to a whole other level. He really did. Charisma. Still a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but like the whole thing about him, it just made so much revenue, right? So you got to respect that, right? And so I like him, but there's a lot of good ones, St. Pierre has always been great. I've liked a lot of boxing and stuff too. Sometimes I think the UFC gets a little bit too much, hugging around. But
like Jake Paul. You said boxing guy. I said like Jake Paul.
That thing's interesting, but you got to give him credit too. He's setting this up and making more money than some of the best fighters of all time ever made. He's just doing it in a different way. So again, it's the new age of social media and internet marketing, right? And
never heard of it.
I can't see where this is going. It's you need characters. Character sells. And then do I like his personality? Nah, I really don't. But good for him. He's making some good money.
You got any questions for us? Any questions for Whit Dog?
I was going to say, I think we all know that you're a character, so we appreciate you coming on. I would love to take a question from you or hear you just put Biz's mind in.
He called you disrespectful. I like that. I agree with you, Robin.
No, I heard. I just heard some interesting things about your Russian experience in the KHL.
Would you ever go over there?
Huh?
Do you know Andre Petersen?
Yeah, I played with him in Binghamton.
Did you?
I lived with him. He lived with me. He lived with me for 2 years.
I love Petey. I called him Petey. I don't know if you do, but
he's
been lighting up over there for years. I got to play with him in Sochi. I played with him 2 years in Binghamton. Unfortunately, he should be playing in the NHL. He was so skilled, man. He was.
But again, you got to be a little lucky. But
no doubt.
No, I mean, obviously, I want to play in the NHL, but I would never said no to go to KHL if that was the option at the time. Would have no problem with that. I've heard a lot of fun stories from over there.
Whit, he played with Carlson before he made it to the NHL over in Sweden.
ODK 65.
Yeah, no, we played in the same team. He was like a little bit higher levels than me, but
we were on
each other. Yeah, in Frölunda. Yeah, he was a character back then. I just laugh when I think about how he was.
Usually when we get a laugh like that, it's like, oh, I just thought of something I can't tell on the podcast.
Yeah. No, but he's wow. He was such a talent. He still is, but he was special in his younger days. He really was.
Well, Robin, listen, good luck catching those snakes in Stoney's backyard. Hopefully we are heading out there for the next ball hockey tournament at the end of February, G?
All-Star game, right?
Beginning of February.
Beginning of February. If you're not in the All-Star game, maybe we can get a ringer for our ball hockey team and you can go between the pipes for us.
Yeah, no, that could be possible. Could be possible.
Fucking Gee, I got another one.
Did you? What about your lacrosse career? How did that turn out?
Not great. Not great.
No?
Honest to God, I found a new respect for that sport when I tried it for the first time. I couldn't even pass or shoot. I thought it was just going to be as easy as just just chucking the ball. No, very difficult.
You also
sport.
thought you could do the Tour de France and like.
Well, I haven't started training yet.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Well,
Robin, thank you, buddy.
Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll definitely catch up when we're out there.
No, for sure.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Absolutely. Robin, if you got to check out a show, go see O at Bellagio. You won't regret it. Good stuff.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'll check it out.
All right, brother. Huge thanks to Robin Lehner for joining us to chat about the new season and whatever else is going on. Very interesting fellow to talk to, huh, Biz?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we touched on it at the end of the interview there, guys. Like, obviously a very important topic, especially nowadays. You're even seeing ads in the NFL about, players speaking up about, things that they're going through as far as mental health. So we know a lot of you people out there also go through things. So we think it's important subject to cover every now and then. And, what better guy than a guy who, has been through a lot. And really cool to hear that insight. And I know we joke about the Islanders all the time, like hearing about Lou sitting him down and before he ended up signing there. Like, that's why guys love playing for Lou, guys. He's just a stand-up person and a reason why he's been around as long as he has. He's a legend and a Hall of Famer. So really, really nice to hear stories like that. Well said, Biz. And want to let you know that interview was also brought to you by Liquid Death. You may start noticing there are strange tall boys of beer in the bottled water section of your local stores. Well, it's not beer. It's actually mountain spring water from the Alps, and it's called Liquid Death. The water's called Liquid Death because it will brutally murder your thirst, and the infinitely recyclable tall boy cans are helping to bring death to plastic bottles. They donate 10% of the profits from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. I've had a bunch of this stuff, and there's nothing like water from the Alps. I love the seltzer too, but you can read it right on the side. Legit, straight from the Alps. Can't beat it. Again, the seltzer, if you're a seltzer guy like myself, get all over it. So go to liquiddeath.com/chiclets to get a free set of koozies with your first order of any case of water, or just grab some at any Whole Foods or 7-Eleven. Liquid Death. Check it out. All right, boys, chugging right along. A few more stories to get to. Unfortunately, this is a particularly ugly one from the Ukrainian Hockey League. A very disgusting incident. Andrei Deniskin, I think you say his name, with an absolutely foul and racist gesture toward a player named Jalen Smerrick, who's from Detroit. He's an American. He's been playing pro for about 5 or 6 years. You guys can Google it and check it out. It's just something that shouldn't happen on any field or play or rink or anything in this planet in 2021. The IIHF has released a statement condemning the actions. They have yet to take any disciplinary action. I would assume it's forthcoming. I don't know how many times they would need to see the video to draw any conclusions, but it's a real chance for the Ukrainian Hockey League and the IIHF to make a hardline statement against this type of shit. We hear about it in European soccer often. We see it. We hear the audio. But this is just the type of shit that no player anywhere should have to put up with. And if the IIHF and the UHL have any balls or any integrity, they would do the right thing and toss this fucking guy out of the league for what he did. So,
kick him out of the league.
I would say minimum a year, if not lifetime ban, at least from the league, if not all European hockey. And it sucks because we see about, one or two of these types of incidences a year. But the positive news is the minute it happens now, there's action being taken, and these leagues and everywhere really around the world, they're not allowing it. And it's like punishment. See you fucking later. So I would be shocked if it wasn't at least a year, if not lifetime ban from anywhere in Europe. So brutal. And
play stupid games, win stupid fucking prizes. This ain't someone suffering cancel culture, any bullshit. It's a stupid fucking thing, and he should be dealt with in an appropriate manner. So let's see. Detroit Red Wing Tyler Bertuzzi will decline to get the vaccination this year, which is his want, but he will not be able to travel to games to Canada. It's going to cost them probably about $400,000 in salary. As well, Edmonton forward Josh Archibald, he could miss up to 30 games per Ken Holland. So also Zach Ronaldo, he couldn't go to Columbus's camp because he wasn't fully back. So, hey, again, you guys are, make their own decisions, but as you realize, when you work for companies and bosses and they have roles, then it might not line up with how you feel. So I don't know, man. Would you sacrifice $400,000 in salary, Biz, or
Biz? He wouldn't sacrifice fucking the per diem from the first trip. He would have gotten 3 needles in his arm. No, sorry, just kidding, Biz.
Yeah, no. I guess my comments are I'm kind of like, I think everybody's sick of COVID and everyone wants it away and everybody wants to just get back to living normally. There has to be rules in place in order to keep, especially a league like the NHL running, where there's constant interaction with players. And, they don't want to end up in a situation where they can't have fans back because it keeps spreading more rapidly. I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm a rule follower. When I'm told to, I'm a rocket Scientologist. When I'm told to do something, I do it. And that's all. I'm not going to fucking go online and bitch at people because they're not doing whatever. I'm just going to mind my own fucking business. And, if they want to sacrifice salary and not playing games because they don't want to do something, it's like, hey,
it's
all the power to you, man. That's my opinion. If you want to be one of those people that goes online and loses their fucking mind at these guys, go do it. I just refuse to fucking get involved anymore. I'm going to think about more positive things and I'm going to move on with my life.
Well, you say go do it. I think you're such a loser if you do that. And in the end, if somebody doesn't want to be vaccinated, it's their own choice. I think if you're vaccinated, what do you fucking care what anyone else does? I never understood that. And at the same time, I'll also say private businesses and owners of teams, they can have their own rules. And if you don't abide by it, you can take a hike. The thing is with Josh Archibald, he'll be gone. He'll probably be in the minors. If they could even send him there, I don't know how that's going to work. Tyler Bertuzzi's a different story because he's a very key part of Detroit. Archibald's, he's fourth liner, right? Tyler Bertuzzi's an enormous part of the Red Wings. So if it's up to him, they don't want to lose him as a player, but it certainly presents an issue. But to be telling people and going after people who aren't vaccinated, mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, and we're just again, it's news we're reporting. I just laugh. It's like, you're not sticking that stuff in me. You only putting Toradol in my fucking body. Yeah. That's all you say.
I mean, Christ, I've put worse. I've put a lot worse.
It's like, hey, fuck you. Don't put that in me up.
I've hung around with RA at Hockey Fest. Okay. I mean, Christ.
No, Biz, I have a strict no needles policy unless it's like we're trying to insulin.
Unless you were the Rolling Stone.
I wasn't saying needles. I was just saying substances.
Apparently, goaltender Curtis McElhinney retired, as his Instagram now reads retired pro athlete. He played 13 NHL seasons for eight different teams, almost 250 games played, and he finished up with 2 Stanley Cups back-to-back with Tampa Bay. So, Curtis, if you are in fact retired, congratulations. Hell of a way to go out with your Instagram bio. But if that's the truth, good for you. Congrats on a hell of a career.
That's like a Bowmeister exit. Just like, hey, see you guys.
Yeah, see you, boys. Deuces. Jim Houston also retired at age 64, ending a 42-year broadcasting career up in Canada. Biz, I know you can speak to him a little better than us guys down in the States can.
One of my favorite play-by-play guys. What an incredible career. I feel like, listen, he can ride off into the sunset, but I feel shortchanged because he still sounds so good and he looks great. You said he's 62?
64.
Or 64. He looks incredible. I actually ran into him one time when me and Pisey were at Kirill Golf Club golfing. I think the Vancouver Canucks were in town at the time, but just an awesome guy. One of the best, and it sucks that hockey's losing him, but enjoy retirement, man. You were one of the fucking greatest guys I've ever heard call a game.
And even in, he's been Hockey Night in Canada and the Canucks, but he's been NHL for EA Sports announcer, correct?
Yeah. I used to play the video game on my computer that he was doing.
He's a man. He's one of the best.
I'm not sure if you guys saw this. The Olympic schedule actually came out. The first couple games, the U.S. is going to play China to kick things off, and Canada will play Germany. Interesting. We'll have Leon going head-to-head versus Connor. But in case you weren't aware, the 21-22 NHL regular season is going to take a break from February 3rd to February 22nd. You have the All-Star Game weekend. I believe that's the 5th out in Vegas. and then the Olympics. So we're not taking a break. Chiclets, the NHL is taking a break.
19 days. Those guys, that's the Hawaii trip everyone does. That's the long Cabo trip. They're going to be going off. Olympic
we're staying in Vegas. We're staying in Vegas from February 3rd to 22nd. Last man standing owns everything for Chiclets.
Yeah, cage match. Lower the cage. I love it. But hey, that's going to be a blast. What a fucking year for the NHL. All these young studs buzzing around at the Olympics. They're still going to give us an all-star game.
I know. That's crazy that they're doing that.
ESPN back. It's fucking awesome.
Did we ever figure out what prospect was imitating me during the Washington Capitals prospect?
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about Hey, roll the clip, Grinelli.
Hi, Washington Capitals fan. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 264 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast.
So
100% we're going to see got sent down like in 2 days. Poor kid.
Yeah.
You listen to those idiots. Get him out of here. Trade him.
He's going to be in the EIHL.
Send him to the Islanders. Yeah, that was pretty funny, man. I forgot to Google to see which prospect or rookie it was, but it's kind of a funny thing to have yourself imitated by pro athletes. It definitely put a smile on my face, though. Imitation.
You're the fucking goat, bro.
Most sincerest form of flattery, Biz. You know that.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Hey, you guys know we love Sax. They make the world's best underwear thanks to their patented ballpark pouch, which is basically a built-in hammock that keeps your balls in place. No sticking or chafing or irritation. But what you might not know is that Sax also makes some of the softest sleepwear. We're talking about premium pajamas, tops, and bottoms. I got a bunch of Sax underwear, and it's ideal for keeping things snug as a bug in a rug, especially as Father Time takes its toll. Want to keep those things close to the home base. And you got nothing to lose when you go to Sax, because Sax offers a 45-day comfort guarantee. If you try them and you don't love them, you can return them with no strings attached. So get comfortable this holiday season. Grab yourself or someone else some of Sax's life-changing sleepwear. Use the code Chiclets for 10% off your first order plus free shipping. Go to saxx.com. That's Sax with 2 X's. Remember, for 10% off and free shipping with the code Chiclets, go to saxx.com. Check them out. They are good. They keep you like a nugget snug.
You like that? You like when it contours your ball bag?
Yeah, it just keeps, especially like I said, you get older, gravity starts working its power a little bit more.
Whoa.
You got old, hangy, old balls?
Dude, it happens. Yeah, dude, every guy. I mean,
wait. Is that a fact? As the older you get, the more your balls droop?
Fuck yeah. You have gravity, baby. Yeah. Old man balls.
I have
you ever seen Jackass? That's not a joke. That's from reality.
I think it's all genetics. Whit, how about
you still got a powerful ball bag, you're saying?
That doesn't... so powerful. I got no droop.
No, it's gravity in time takes its
My
toll.
balls are up high. I don't got
good thing, man, because like, you don't want it when your ball bag is drooping like so far down that your like horn looks like it's tiny because it's like not as long.
I already fight that
Life
issue.
Is tough. Life. Yeah, wait till you get my age, boys. All right, let's move it right along.
How old are you?
Me, 49.
49?
Mm-hmm.
When do you turn 50?
Not till next year.
Oh, we gotta throw.
I
think we said we were going to Vegas for that.
Vegas party.
We won't be in Vegas for my birthday, so
where do you want to go? Other than Fort Lauderdale or Daytona, nowhere in Florida.
Pensacola. Birthday party, all right.
Pensacola, Florida. I want to go to Pensacola Hooters. That's where I want to go.
We'll actually be in Florida for Vegas for my birthday this year. So if you guys want to throw me a little party that Saturday night, I'll be 29.
I'll call my boy. We'll be in Vegas. We'll take care of you. We got to talk about Erica's Barstool Hockey Cup. It just got announced this week. It's going to take place in April of 2022 on Long Island. Erica is going to assemble the best female players from the Olympics, professional leagues from U.S., Canada, and Europe. There are going to be 4 teams taking place. It's basically going to be like more or less a World Cup of women's hockey, right, G?
Yeah, that's why it's called the Barstool Hockey Cup. Erica's been kind of planning this thing for a long time, and it's going to be electric.
It's great because, she tried to get involved with the league and they pigeon-tossed her like the complete fools. And in the end, okay, if you don't want me, I'll build my own women's hockey classic. And the reason that it works is because all these girls want and women all want to play in it. So I think it's going to be fantastic. I talked to Jamison Coyle, who works for the NHL Network. He texted me right away. Hey, I'd love to be involved on the broadcast team. Like, people want to be involved in this, and all the women want to play in it. I think it's going to be very special and going to really do wonders for the women's game.
So will it be Team USA, Team Canada, and then Team Europe? Like,
I have it right here, G, unless it's changed since what you sent me. It's going to be Team USA 25 and older, Team Canada 25 and older, North America 24 and under, and then the rest of the world on one team. So it's
so much like the World Cup and the men's hockey.
What they did with the All-Star game that year, the North American team.
Do you remember that 3-on-3 they had between the young guns in Sweden?
Insane.
Yes. McKinnon buried at the end on Lundqvist, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably the coolest 3-on-3 I've ever seen. And I want to say that was when the first had been introduced, where that season that followed it was the first time that they had the 3-on-3 overtime.
Was it?
Yeah, that's how
I think
they
you're right,
introduced
because that 3-on-3 was so crazy that we were like, oh my God, this is going to be sick.
Oh yeah.
Leonard just wants more shootouts, though, so we should just skip the 3-on-3.
I kind of agree with Leonard. I would rather see more 3-on-3. I think if you did 10 minutes of 3-on-3, that'd be awesome. And there's no way that somebody wouldn't score 10 minutes 3-on-3 and or go down to 2-on-2.
That'd be crazy. With that much ice, somebody would eventually end it, but that's almost like too much ice.
So the year I won the Calder Cup in the AHL, not a big deal. They did 7 minutes of overtime, and after the 4-minute mark of overtime, if there was a whistle, it went from 4-on-4 down to 3-on-3. So I think in the NHL's case, they could maybe try to do that, where it would go from 3-on-3 to 2-on-2. I find that more of hockey than just a guy going down shooting on the goalie. No?
Yeah, they just always talk about more minutes. I know what you're saying. I would rather that too. I would, but I think there'd be pushback.
Hey, how about this? It continues 3-on-3. But you can only play the 6 guys with the least amount of ice in the lineup that night. So the fourth,
everyone's just chipping it out, chipping it in. You're like, guys, you don't have to do that anymore.
Their legs are seizing up because they haven't fucking played in a full period in overtime. Oh God,
you should make like
bring out the
boy
Timbits
or something. Like they should get people that work for the team involved in the shootout if they want to make it really crazy. So like somebody from the team, you have a representative that works for the team and they put skates on as overtime's like coming to an end, and then they do the shootout.
How about after overtime's up, the home team gets to pick an activity other than hockey, other than the shootout. So if you're in Vegas, they like bring out a craps table. Or a blackjack table. Hey, Merles might get a one-way just for his craps ability. Hey, if they had roulette, you might get a fucking PTO whit.
Like the McDavid roulette. Even though I lost every dollar I had that week.
Hey, you're in Dallas. They do like bull riding. they bring out the one at
in Denver. You just got to smoke a huge bowl.
All right, welcome back.
Yeah. In Tampa, like Hooters waitresses come.
Hey, Hooters dances give you a lap dance, and the first guy to blow loses.
In Tennessee, the captains have to sing country.
Yeah, karaoke style. Nice. I like that. What other ones would we do?
Buffalo, you just got to take a shit on the ice. Largest shit wins.
No, you got to do hot wings. The hot
Boston, it's a clam chowder fest, like a competition who can eat the most the fastest.
The Kraken, you got to down
a liter. My squirrel.
You got to down a liter of Starbucks.
LA, whoever comes from banging a porn star quickest loses.
No, TikTok. No, we can't do that.
That's a valley.
Batman's not gonna okay that. I could see him okaying the Hooters waitresses with the lap dance, seeing who lasts the longest. Let's keep going here. What are some other teams? What would you do in New Jersey?
Arizona, you got to spend a night at your apartment, and whoever doesn't throw up wins.
Oh yeah. What else? Who else? Do some other teams. This is fun.
I can't even think of other teams right now.
Gee, I'm gonna go back to Unreal jerseys. I know you mentioned them before the show. We got a lull here.
Unreal golf merch. It's the spelled UNRL. We have a bunch of new golf shirts dropping. Biz is actually wearing the Unreal quarter zip that we have, but they're unreal. They're like Pink Whitney speckled, Spittin Chiclets speckled. So they got a bunch of logos all over them, and they're just like high performance golf shirts. I know Whit can talk about them. I mean, I think they're amazing.
Well, high performance golf. What did we see a lot of up in the Americans this weekend or what?
Holy shit. What an absolute thumping the Americans.
Anaheim, you got to build a sandcastle. No, that's kind of
That's what you used all that time to think of. If you were going to come with something there, it had to be fire.
I'm the worst.
Sandcastle?
I'm going to log off. I'm going to log off.
The American team is an absolute wagon. And the crazy thing is, so Europe had dominated the past few Ryder Cups for years now. Now, granted, America still has to win one over there. I don't think they've won over there since like 1993 in Europe. Next one's in Rome in 2023. But the American team is young. They had 6 rookies this year, and they dusted a European team that's getting older and older. And it kind of looks like it could be switching where the next, 10, 15 years, the U.S. is dominating the Ryder Cup. They have horses. DJ was the oldest guy on the team. It was a memorable weekend. Like, I think my biggest thing, I love the Ryder Cup. I love watching it. I love it when it's close, right? You hope that singles matters and that there can be a huge difference maker when it comes down to Sunday. This year it was over going in, but it was perfect golf from the American team. DJ went 5-0. He was a machine. My new favorite, I shouldn't say new, but my favorite pro golfer is this Colin Morikawa. Like, there's no such thing as the perfect human. This guy has it all going. He's so professional, polished. His game's ridiculous. He's the best iron player in the world. He went to Cal Berkeley. I think he had like a 4.0 there, an unreal student, top-ranked amateur, just a stallion. So the fact that he was a rookie, he lit it up. This Patrick Cantlay, he's an animal out there. Seems like just somebody who never gets rattled. It was just a great weekend of golf. I won a bunch of money. I had America to win the cup. They were big favorites, but I didn't see a way they were losing. You saw Rory after. Rory had nothing. He was crying after, talking about how emotional the Ryder Cup is and how much it means to him and how disappointed he was to be so bad. He won his Sunday singles match against Schauffele, but to team events, he was horrible. They actually sat him for one of the afternoons or the mornings. I think he got sat in best ball. I don't remember, though, but for him not to play, I mean, it's been a tough go for Rory McIlroy. I always wonder, like, he made so much money. He won 4 majors in such a quick amount of time. He only has to win the Masters to win the Grand Slam, but he's been struggling, and he's got swing changes and different coaches, and his friends, his caddy. He had a caddy for a long time, and you just never know what goes through a guy's head. He's a father now. It's like so hard to probably balance his life. He's so good at what he does, yet maybe there isn't the joy that was once there. And it's nuts because when he's on, there's nobody better, but it just seems like it's been quite a while. And this weekend was tough for him because he was just playing horrible Friday and Saturday, but US was dominant. They were so good. It was great to watch. And that course, I played Whistling Straits. I actually didn't love it. It's so hard. I mean, those guys make it look so easy. You don't understand that you get out there. There's blind shots everywhere. The wind's howling. The water's on the left or the right of almost every single hole. Pete Dye designs these courses that just make them super difficult. So I didn't love the course basically because it was so hard, but the way they make it look, those guys are just so good that it was entertaining to watch like this perfect golf USA played.
First of all, I was surprised to see Ian Poulter still involved in the Ryder Cup. I want to say he fell off like years back, but he seems to be pretty clutch in these events.
Yeah, I think that it goes back to like maybe 2014. He was ridiculous in Medina. With the Saturday afternoon, I think he birdied like the last 4 holes to get a point, and then they had the ridiculous comeback. But he seems to get like playing great leading up to the Ryder Cup because he continues to make these teams. This is probably his last one. He was actually a little emotional in the press conference after saying he thinks it was his last chance. You never know if in 2 years he could give it a go again.
He played great, though, didn't he?
I don't think he didn't play great.
Well, maybe
he had to play with Rory in a couple matches, and Rory was terrible. So
he was keeping him in it. I think like he won like 3 of the holes for him the day that I was watching. I'm like, fuck, I didn't even, and especially that he's bumping the visor like me and the Sandbaggers. I kind of had this like emotional connection to him with the frosted tips.
What's interesting about the Ryder Cup is so whoever's hosting it, they have the right, and they're the ones who set up the golf course. So it's kind of gotten too extreme where like you go over to Europe, and it was in France when Europe won in 2018. and they set up this very tight course with long rough because their guys hit it shorter and straighter, where US just has bombers, right? So you set up this course that's so difficult for the Team USA to play. And then you go back to America and they set up these ballparks, these big old ballparks that ball strikers can play and hit. You got to hit shots like iron shots and ball striking that Team Europe doesn't have. So I kind of think that moving forward in the Ryder Cup, it'd be better if there was a neutral person or group that set up the golf courses, because it's almost getting like, I think a lot of the times it just benefits whoever's setting up the course so much. We'll see what happens in Rome. Like I said, USA will be favored, I think. They just don't have much coming up in Europe. USA has even more guys that are coming up.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was the big Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. They now they're playing tummy sticks. Like, do you think that this is forever? Do you think this was just for this event? They seem to. I mean, Bryson DeChambeau was wearing the stepbrothers shirt with their faces on it.
I know. It seemed to be that Bryson finally kind of seemed normal. Like, he seemed like he was like not being likable. Like, yeah, he seemed likable. Koepka still, I don't know. I mean, they had to certainly have respect for each other this week. I think both of them had talked about it. Like, they're on a team for a week, but maybe moving forward because they won. And Bryson beat Sergio in singles, and Brooks went over to him right away and kind of dapped him up. It was like great playing. So you'd think that would end it. One of those guys could go back and continue to just rip it on the other, and you never know what could happen. But you wouldn't be surprised if this is the end of their beef. I think it won't be the end of people giving DeChambeau shit.
Justin Thomas was pretty big in this event too. You know what I noticed the day I was watching? They were getting a little bit chippy about not giving each other putts.
Yeah, dude, they were.
Just put the fucking thing in the hole.
And the crazy thing was, like, so Bryson actually thought a putt should be given to him. I tweeted about it. He laid down the putter. Now, technically, like, people say if the putt's inside the leather, so if you were to put the putter head into the hole, and if the ball would then be between then and when the like putter grip starts, like, so if it was just between the shaft, they say that's gimmies. But Bryson, he did it. They were down 6 points, I think. They were down 5 or 6 points. It's like, why would anyone be giving you putts? Like, they need anything they can get. And then, like, he made a spectacle of it. So I'm sure there was some competitiveness going where Europe's not giving them anything and they're taking offense, but just make the putt.
Hey, Whit, was that why the belly putter was created? So you get those free long putts?
No, I said that, but people then said that the distance between that and the grip would still be like the same length. I don't know. People on Twitter are fools.
Well, the Ryder Cup wasn't the only thing on TV all weekend with the decidedly European influence that a lot of people watched. The Sopranos have been replaying the entire oeuvre, all 5 of their seasons, or is it 6 seasons or 5.5, whatever they call it. They're replaying all the seasons because the movie is dropping Friday, the Many Saints in Newark. So I know people are like, oh, who fucking watches cable? But if you're sitting there and it's on TV, you're going to pop on it. You don't have to be.
What channel was it on?
HBO was streaming like from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. I want to say last Thursday. They've done season 1, season 2, season 3. So, you know, someone like me who works from home all day, it's like a no-brainer to put The Sopranos on the background all day. And it's funny, man. Like, I haven't watched every second of every episode, but I've revisited quite a lot of it. And it just reminds you how awesome and epic of a show it was, how groundbreaking it was at the time. You know, a show that they're never going to make again. But like I said to the texter the other day, with how James Gandolfini was built for that role. Like I think he was slowly going to build out of it. You know, he died not too long after the show and off the air, but he was starting to make movies that weren't, you know, Tony Soprano type roles. I think he was so pigeonholed, but I think he would have been such a good actor if he lived another 20, 30 years. There would have been like the Tony Soprano phase of his career, and then like the next Oscar-winning phase of his career, because he was
it's like Steve Carroll. I think that he did a pretty good job of getting out of Michael Scott. Or do you think that everybody always views him as Michael Scott?
Good call, Biz. That's a good call. But with like a few things like I tweeted about and I got good feedback on was like when Richie Aprile comes out. Of course, he's like one of the first scumbags that gets out of jail and he starts dating Janice. And I was like, oh, Richie Aprile is such a maggot. And everyone like replies to that as like, but he worse than Ralphie Cifaretto. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know this is going to be a dick measuring contest between the two big scumbags. I'm like, well, no, Ralph Cifaretto is the worst. I mean, Richie beat up. He punched Janice in the face. He fucking drove over Beansy after he tried to muscle him. But Ralphie Cifaretto killed a horse. He burned it alive, and then he fucking murdered. He beat up the stripper that he got pregnant. Like, he was just a psychopath. Ralphie Cifaretto was probably the biggest scumbag on the show. But also, too, what I noticed was how big of fucking idiots Meadows' boyfriends were over the years. Like, she dated the biggest fucking morons, like that kid Noel. He was like the biracial Jewish nerd whose father was like a big shot lawyer, but he was such a geek. And then that kid Finn, who caught what's his name? Was it Vito blowing the guy at the construction site? And then Jackie Jr. was the biggest fucking meathead. He was about as sharp as a donut. Like, she was a meathead herself on that show. Like, but I think maybe they're trying to say, well, when you have this guy as your father, then you're not going to pick out probably the best boyfriends. That could have been like one of the messages of the show.
Yeah, the show is so good. I recently rewatched the whole thing, I think 2 years ago, so I'm pretty dialed in moving into this movie. Gandolfini was unreal. He was built for that role. Do you think, like, it's weird because some people, Steve Carell is a great example, but some people I feel like never get out of the
What's
role.
another example? What's another example of a guy who can't get out of a certain role?
Like the guys on Friends, like, did they ever do anything? Now, the argument is like, if you're on a show that's so successful where you end up not really being able to do anything after, like, you're making so much money, maybe you don't care, but also as an actor or actress, like, it's got to be kind of hard after to realize that you're never going to get out of that.
Jerry Seinfeld would be a good example.
Yeah, but he was a comedian, so he was different.
Yeah, and I think it depends what your aspirations are, because like the woman on Grey's Anatomy there, what's her name from Everett? What's her name? Ellen Pompeo. Like, she was in a few movies. She was in Old School, and then she got into Grey's Anatomy, and like she realized, I can make way more money at Grey's Anatomy. I might not get the roles I want, but I can like have a position of power here and make like $10 million an episode and be a producer. And that's what she decided to do. She basically like threw out any potential acting career she might have in movies to focus on making.
I got
all
a
her money
couple
in
good
TV.
ones.
Who do you got?
Carlton.
Yeah, like, yeah, he never. Or how about like Ted Danson? RA, I know he's been on other things, but he was so good as Sam Malone. And like, was he?
What about Screech?
Was he somebody?
Yeah,
R.I.P. Was
yeah,
Ted Danson somebody that could have had like an amazing acting career and never really did?
I mean, I think he had a pretty good TV career. Obviously, you mentioned Cheers, Sam Malone, but then he did that show Becca, which I wasn't necessarily a fan of, but he was pretty popular on that. And then the recent, what was it, A Good Place? He was on that.
He's in Curb Your Enthusiasm too, as a good as himself, which is funny.
And he did that other show on HBO. Fuck, the name of it escapes me. Is it? God,
I dropped
with
a
Jason
couple bangers
Schwartzman
and got nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, he said Screech. I mean, he's not even alive.
Yeah, I don't think Ted Danson got pigeonholed. I think he actually did better than most guys do who have like an iconic role like that, like he did with Sam Malone. He was able to go out and do 2 or 3 other roles that maybe people know him by other than Sam Malone.
What about Adrian Grainer from Entourage?
Oh, big time. Isn't
There's one. There's one.
Yeah.
G is buzzing.
Yeah, there's a guy like I don't know. Is it because of his Entourage success and people know him as Vince, or is it that he wasn't that good of an actor? You know what I mean?
I think it might be the latter. I think like
I don't think the acting was that great in Entourage.
Yeah, I know
No
he's in
offense,
that.
Cons.
He's on some Entourage show. I'm sorry, Netflix show right now called Clickbait. But yeah, I don't think he was the strongest actor on that show. So like they might not have been beating down his door. I mean, you look at so many iconic shows, like even like something like The Wire. That's one of the best shows ever. But people aren't beating down everyone's door. Like, oh, you were on this show. Like, come on our show. It's like there's a lot of flashes in the pan of like, I mean, even Aaron Paul. Like, let's bring up Aaron Paul, who played Science
Jesse
Pitch on Jesse on
Jesse
Pinkman. Bad Jesse Pinkman. Now, you know, he's been in a couple movies. He's got some other roles, but like he hasn't done anything to make you think of Jesse Pinkman since he played Jesse Pinkman. I mean, if that's the worst thing that you'd see a grave is you played this iconic role in a TV show, it's not a bad thing. But I think as actors, they want to like,
and you go
do something else.
And you in a way, it's similar to athletics where you can kind of go from being the top dog on the biggest show ever, and all of a sudden you kind of got nothing going on. It must be a bizarre feeling for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's tough, man. It's a tough business. I know people, it's easy work. It's like, no, it's hard work. If you're not good at it, it's real hard work to do. And these people aren't guaranteed jobs, man. There's a lot of working class actors that, you know, they get a job or 2 or 3 a year, but they still gotta pay bills. The vast majority of actors are not making a lot of money.
Here's one for you. Fez from that 70s show.
Oh God, he's still dining out on all the fucking ass he got, I think.
Which guy was Fez?
He was the funny one when they would always do the round table. He would say the ridiculous shit.
The guy who would wear the sunglasses, or like the Hispanic guy?
The Hispanic guy.
He was, the South
Oh,
American.
yeah. What's Wilder Valderrama?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy
correct.
guy had like a Jeter like dating like pool. That guy was an animal. Yeah, he had a bunch of different rockets.
Yeah, he was savage. Like
He hosted that show Yo Mama on MTV where they would make just like Yo Mama jokes for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, that was Baroots. Secretly loved it. Speaking of shows, Free Britney documentary is dropping Tuesday when this comes out. We're recording this Monday. That is going to be a banger. So all the behind the scenes bullshit that her family put her through in order to keep her in this conservative ship. So I cannot wait to see that. And one other thing I had written down here is McGregor's first pitch there for the Cubs game. Are these guys fucking trying to pitch it like shit? Like this has to be like an attention.
I don't think so. I think he tried to throw it as hard as possible. And do they play baseball in Ireland? Like he probably doesn't even know how to throw a ball correctly.
I mean, come on, man. The guy's he was a UFC champion. You're telling me these guys can't
Dude, I think a lot of people,
baseball?
I think you'd be surprised that athletic people who never played baseball, like don't know how to throw a ball. I think there's guys in the NHL that if you saw him throw a baseball, you'd be fucking shocked.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that if somebody handed you a ball, no warm up, no nothing, you can't even practice going into it, you could throw a strike from the top of the mound?
No, I can't. I think if I took heat off of it, I mean, I was a big lefty pitcher. I threw gas, dude, nice curveball. I was money till I was like 12. And let me tell you, I would not feel confident in throwing a strike. President Bush's 9/11 first pitch, greatest first pitch all time, was a dart, perfect strike. I don't know, man. If I took a lot off it, maybe I could get it over the plate, but I would not be confident. It's farther away than you think.
I threw out a first pitch once at a Lowell Spinners game.
How'd you do?
You threw out a first pitch.
Threw out a first pitch.
Yeah, I was fucking Little League game, T-ball.
That he was umping.
I was walking in and they said that the guy canceled that day. I was wearing a Red Sox shirt. They were like, come throw out the first pitch. Ended up throwing a strike right down the middle.
Oh, I want to see video of this.
All right. Were you done on the actors who can't get out of their roles conversation?
Yeah.
Or did you have any other things to chime in on that? I didn't want to.
RA never got anything after being the cook.
That's true, man.
Actually,
you got pigeonholed being a cook, bro.
It's funny. I did get one of those emails. I told you I'm a member of that casting place where like I'm on file. So if someone sees me and they might want to use me, I'll get like a special email because they're filming a movie around here next month. But I replied, but I haven't heard back yet. So I don't know if I'm gonna. They should
make like an Ocean's 13 style, like a film about a guy who sneaks into sporting events, and maybe RA could play himself.
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't tell people about it, so I don't know how you can make that movie. That's the whole key when you do that shit. You keep your fucking mouth shut so you can keep getting away with it, not tell the whole fucking world, so then they look for it.
Well, Pasha did, but it was just too bad that we did.
Yeah, rookie move. Pasha, call me when you drink out of this Stanley Cup, Pasha.
Suck it.
Yeah, RA's like, don't be coming after my crown.
Yeah, come on.
I don't have anything else, boys, other than Aaron Rodgers. Fuck, man. I think that as far as individual quarterbacks go, and maybe not the team surrounding him, he, by the time he's done playing, will maybe be the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
With one Super Bowl.
Not even close, Biz.
I'm saying, listen, Tom Brady is the greatest winner in football history, and I don't think that as a player. All right, you think that he's a better individual player than Aaron Rodgers?
No, Aaron Rodgers is a fantastic quarterback. I'd put him up there with Peyton Manning as far as accuracy, just having a natural ability to be an NFL quarterback. But the results are the results, and he's won one Super Bowl. He's 1-3 or 1-4 in NFC Championship games. And he's had some big games where he hasn't come through in the clutch. So, yeah, I think championships matter, but he's a great quarterback, fantastic Hall of Famer, but fucking one title, man.
But then you could also, on the contrary, say, like, look how many times, like, I'm not going to say bailed out because that's such a negative word when it's surrounding Tom Brady. There's a lot of factors that went into him winning a lot of these games.
Yeah, right. They could have won a couple more, too.
And
fucking helmet catch. David Tyree.
I mean, again, Rodgers will be a Hall of Famer. And like I said, he reminds me of Manning as far as the accuracy, the pinpoint control, they make throws you've never seen before. But that's just certain parts of the game. Those are certain skills that don't make you the greatest ever. I mean, winning. It's winning that makes you the best ever. And whether I'm a Brady guy or not, I just don't think when you have one Super Bowl or in Manning's case, 2, which one was on the defense. I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer. And who's the best quarterback of all time when you're measuring who won titles?
All right.
Yeah. All right. But hey, we do got to give a shout out.
Biased homer.
We do got to give a shout out though to Justin Tucker's 66-yard field goal, set an NFL record, sent Lions fans home crying yet again. But that was incredible. I know what you said. You had them in your suicide pool.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't know that's how it went down. And when I saw it, I was shocked.
Yeah, it's pretty.
The one other football thing I wanted to talk about was Sean McVay. The
coach of the Rams.
Coach of the Rams.
They look great.
Fascinating guy. Apparently, he's a savant when it surrounding the like all the play calling and all this. He's kind of a hybrid between like Belichick and Pete Carroll and how he motivates. If you ask him throughout his coaching career about any play by giving him the down in yardage and time in like whatever week it was, he can go back to 2015 and tell you the exact play that was ran on that down.
Yeah, that's
so crazy. Like week 3, 2016, with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter,
he'll tell you
2nd and 4. He's telling you what play.
He'll tell you exactly what play ran and what was executed.
That's some Mary Lou.
That's kind of like me going back through the golf rounds I play. I'm a savant, right? Can you guys call me a savant, please?
Yes,
that's a real condition, Like, well, I don't think McVay has, but Mary Lou Henner, the lady who was on the show Taxi, she can remember every little detail of her life. They can ask her like any day from like 50, 60 years ago, and she could tell you every single thing. Yeah, she was on 60 Minutes. It's not like some crazy RA story. There's a name for it. People, it's almost like a curse because they remember every little thing. And Mary Lou Henner, the hot redhead from Taxi, she was on 60 Minutes. She can remember every obscure detail from like any day that you name in her life. Can tell you what day it was. All this crazy shit that Sean McVay's head would go fucking circle.
Wow. That new stadium they have in LA is stunning. Between like that and the Raiders, who else has a new one in the NFL? All these new stadiums that they're building are absolutely incredible.
Minnesota's is new, I think.
Better be after they hold up fucking taxpayers for all that fucking money. That's what they did in Vegas. I mean, hey, if you're an owner and a city wants to pay for it, fuck it. Yeah, I'd let them too. But
Jerry's World is still relatively new. That place is silly.
Yeah, and I don't know how much the Dallas or Texas taxpayers are on the hook for it, but Vegas taxpayers paid a lot of money for that fucking Raiders stadium. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I think we can wrap this thing out. I think I frustrated RA enough by saying Roger's the greatest quarterback of all time.
No, you don't frustrate me.
You called the Fugees better than the Rolling Stones.
And then the Fugees trumping the Rolling Stones.
That's what's going to get your throat slit later.
All right, guys. Awesome week. Thanks again to Robin Lehner. We're looking forward to couple more interviews we're trying to crush away before the start of the year to have some on-tap solid episodes coming for you in the next few weeks. We can't wait to get hockey going, like Biz said. ESPN, new team, All-Star Game, Olympics. It's going to be wild. So thank you for listening. We will see you next week. Peace.
New team coming too.
Roger's the GOAT.